All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is Prime Nation. It's March 20th, 2017. I'm Sydney Roberts.
I'm Tyler Wood.
I'm Cameron Smith.
I'm Jack Nelson.
I'm Tanner Methvin.
And then we got Captain Dan controlling the video stream in the back. Guys, Prime Nation, it's going to be a morning radio talk show. We're going to try to keep it as far from a morning zoo type thing as we can. But let me go ahead and preface this by telling you, you don't want to come to us for your hard-hitting political opinions or anything like that. You also don't want to come for us for sports talk, anything. We're just going to be covering the topics that we care about, that we think are relevant to people our age, and hopefully giving you some funny opinions about it.
How did we come to these conclusions, Sydney?
Over roughly 2 weeks of dry runs where we kind of figured out what worked and what didn't. And
when we realized we were more engaged with fast food than sports.
We go on
20-minute
20-minute tangents on Scooby-Doo.
yeah, that was the day where it kind of clicked for me that we're not going to be giving people their hard-hitting political commentary.
Honestly, the day that we talked for an hour and a half about Scooby-Doo is the day that I was like, oh, wow, we might be able to actually, make a difference.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's when I knew that this show was going to be a success. It was just kind of genre-defining for me. So I hope everyone who tunes in, understands that and appreciates what we're doing here. But it's just going to be fun. That's the only goal we really have with this show, is to have fun, and hopefully all our listeners will have fun too. So let's kick it off with On This Day. The most, let me say, the least depressing thing from today is that Mr. Rogers was born. So that's pretty
real
cool.
sweet.
That's like the best news ever. That's when the second coming happened, was when Mr. Rogers was born. He's like the one good person that we still have left.
Okay, so
Is he still alive?
No, he's dead.
No,
Okay,
I
yeah.
mean in terms of he died and he got out clean, where it's not like you don't hear hey, did you hear about what Mr. Rogers did?
Yeah.
There's no awful skeletons in that closet.
He didn't live long enough to become the villain.
Yeah.
I love that quote.
And
Man.
Actually,
It's perfect.
I think there are skeletons in his closet, and that's where he hangs his sweaters. Just a whole collection of skeletons.
Please don't badmouth Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, really
Sorry,
don't.
Cameron.
Well, no, I mean, he used to be a Marine, right?
No, that's like a Snopes,
Really?
legend,
okay,
know.
so he was always a sweater-wearing, gentle-hearted guy.
Yeah,
I think-
he smoked mad green, though, according to Michael Keaton, who worked on that show.
I think you're thinking of Bob Ross, who was like an army drill sergeant.
Okay. No, I
Yeah.
was definitely thinking of Mr. Rogers, because that's what people
Yeah,
always...
there's
Yeah, I've
definitely
heard
those
that too.
silly I think
Yeah.
even epic rap battle of history that puts him in there references that. I feel like.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because they talk about the sweater covers up his complete sleeve tattoos.
Yeah,
on both
yeah,
sides.
exactly.
So I haven't watched that show in a long time. What was the point? What was the goal? What did they do on the
It was
show?
like
Mr.
good-
Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it's a take on Breaking Bad, actually, and it's really meant to be a cinematic masterpiece.
Okay.
They take the character of Mr. Rogers, this you think it's supposed to be some throwaway character for a kid's show.
Right.
Not the case at all. This is a three-dimensional character, got a family
Okay.
and everything, and you care
This
about
is-
him by the
this
end.
is
So this
sarcastic
is-
beyond belief.
No, you went down there and you got educated, you learned about stuff, he taught you lessons, he visited places.
Mhm.
There was the fun, play place that he went
Yeah.
into, the Puppet
He
Kingdom,
trained,
Was
right?
it-
There was a train involved.
Yeah, there was
What
a
was
train involved. Yeah,
What-
there's Tyler's autism
Yeah.
kicking in. Where was the train?
Yeah,
I
if
wanna
there's a
know.
train-
He pulled you to the
Was
side,
it
showed you
Thomas?
explicit photos on
I
his
think
iPhone.
I only cared about that show because of the train. I would have the train.
Once there's a train involved, Tyler's on board.
Yeah.
Oh,
God.
I was gonna point that out, but I thought that was one of my
Yeah.
puns that's just too bad.
Yeah,
So I'm glad you
can
guys
we get
responded.
a gunshot sound effect or something?
we have a Tanner, so it's just whenever you make a pun, he goes ha ha.
I like it a lot.
Hee hi ho ha.
I appreciate puns, so I like that I have someone here to back me up with that. But I never watched Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood myself. I was more of a Barney kid. I never watched Sesame Street either. But
They
Mr. Rogers...
weren't asking you to draw sides. You didn't have to pick one.
Yeah,
Well-
you're putting lines in the sand like this is an East Coast, West Coast thing. They were all on PBS,
No,
son.
I'm not advocating for one over the other. I'm just saying what my personal preference was.
I didn't watch any
Calm
of them.
down, guys. So was he was the only human, right?
Mr. Rogers?
Yeah.
No, there was other people that
Sorry,
came
you're thinking
in
about
and out.
Pee Wee's Playhouse now.
No,
Hmm.
there was
Pee-wee's
Reba the
Playhouse.
mail lady,
Yeah.
and there was Miss Yvonne, and
But
The
There's
train was
Captain
sentient.
yeah.
But there
was
very
no
few
trains.
people.
I knew there were lots of sentient things. I just thought they were mostly puppets or wooden things.
That was a
Yeah.
tram.
Ah.
yeah.
What's the
okay.
difference?
What's the difference, Sydney? I cannot believe you're going to be this. inappropriate
Don't
on
get-
the radio.
yeah.
You're just
Well,
gonna-
enlighten us. I'm sure we have of all 6 people listening right now.
Don't get started on trams topics.
I know.
with
It's pretty
Tyler.
early in the. It's pretty early in the
Trains
show.
have an engine, and the engine pulls the cars. A tram is completely self-sufficient vehicle.
So powered by the rails.
It's powered by the electricity in the rails. Yes.
I see. Okay. Well, thanks for that succinct examination for
No
us.
problem. I didn't even know where I was going with it when it started.
So, like we said, everything else was more or less depressing on this day. We had the first concentration camps formed. The East Indian Trading Company opened, but President Obama was the first United States president to visit Cuba since 1928. Last year.
You mean Cuba Gooding Jr.?
Hey,
I've been saving that all day.
God.
I wouldn't be surprised if Obama did meet Cuba Gooding Jr. because last year around this time was when that OJ series was on.
Dude, I just started watching that on Saturday instead of Iron Fist, and I really am happy with my decision.
Yeah. Did anyone watch Iron Fist?
No, I've heard very bad
God,
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even watch those Marvel shows.
I love all the Marvel
Dude,
shows,
Jessica
and
Jones was awesome.
I'll defend them till I see. Iron Fist was the first Marvel show where I've really thought, oh man, the production value here is terrible.
Yeah, I was just glad I was like, oh, everybody's on the same page I am
Yeah.
on all
Yeah.
these other Marvel
Well,
shows.
I mean, the graphics, like they had a bird fly into the screen, and it was like
Ooh.
it looked like 1998.
Oh, nice. So it was like some Mummy 2 stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Like,
I was about to say Shrek, but Mummy 2 is even better.
Well,
Yeah.
what was killing me in those trailers was the tone. I'm like, Iron Fist out of all these kind of the fun, goofier ones,
Mhm.
and they're taking it just as seriously, if not more seriously, than like Luke Cage and,
And
Daredevil.
the weird thing is that I watched the first episode, and I'm gonna try to make it through just out of solidarity, but to the other shows, I mean. But it's all like boardroom stuff. Like there's no comic, there's no action.
So somebody watched Arrow,
I was
and
about
they
to
were
say,
like,
it sounds
let's
like Arrow, the
yeah.
first season where
Yeah.
it sucked. And
Yeah,
they didn't-
let's get all that
yeah.
boring stuff from Arrow nobody liked and make a whole show of it.
I mean, it was in the first episode alone. I can't think of any punches that were thrown, and that just says that if there were any punches, they definitely weren't Iron Fist level. What were you gonna say though, Tyler?
I was going to say I haven't seen Arrow, but I'm really bummed on how Arrow, the television show, caused the comic book character to be redesigned. Because I loved Green Arrow pre-Arrow television show. Like how he was a little bit older dude. He's like in his 40s, had the goatee, he's very grizzled. And they cleaned him up so much for the television show. And that's the Green Arrow that we now have in the comics, basically. He's like very clean cut. He's got short hair.
And he's young.
He's
So-
quite a bit younger.
Oh, okay,
I gotta
yeah.
say though, you are right, except for now with Rebirth.
Okay, did they
the
go
writer
back to the
basically
old
said,
one?
"I want to do old Green
Good.
Arrow." So he's still younger. They didn't age him up, but he's got the goatee back. The first issue,
That's-
there's even
yeah.
a big moment where he's like, "I'm doing the goatee again."
Good.
And
The character himself
but
says it.
he basically says, we're doing the goatee."
You don't get that often enough in comic books. Characters' grooming preferences.
yeah.
That's something that bugged me about Daredevil was that he was so unshaven. Just because I'm used to Daredevil having a clean-shaven face, I
Yeah.
guess it makes sense, especially in this day. and
he's
age.
He's
blind.
blind. Yeah, exactly. Like,
doesn't mean you
I
can't-
just imagine he's got cuts all over his
It
face
doesn't
from
mean you
trying
can't
to
look
shave.
good.
Well, he would actually be able to shave himself, but just to
That's true.
pull off the alter ego, he would have to cut himself every now and
Probably
then.
he could probably hear every hair getting chopped.
Exactly. Yeah.
That you know what? If you want to get me to watch the Daredevil TV show, give him some fun Mr. Magoo pratfalls
Yeah,
when
yeah.
he's in disguise as Matt Murdock.
Run
and I'm
into a
there.
wall every now and then.
Yeah, like just make him, and he's just like, I'm a big dumb blind idiot. Sorry.
Shrek
did-
was mentioned earlier. I know a little bit about
Oh,
that.
God.
Dude, one
Oh,
thing-
I did. That was one redeeming thing about the Ben Affleck Daredevil was Happy Hogan in it, John Favreau, when he
Yeah.
would the ways that he would mess with him, like putting mustard in his coffee and
Oh,
stuff.
dude,
I just rewatched Chef.
Oh, yeah.
that's such a good movie.
Yeah,
Yeah?
I love that movie.
I haven't watched it, but everyone loves
It's
it. Yeah.
it's very good. Highly recommend.
You-
10 out of 10.
No,
Would
I
eat
agree.
again.
By the way, just something that bugs me about Daredevil, the Netflix version, is that as a blind person, he's just magical. There's one scene in season 2 where they're like near a bunch of train cars. They're like, which has the people in it? He doesn't even like bang on them to like figure out which
He
one.
can hear the
He
heartbeats,
could just
bro.
hear. Yeah, he just says that one.
It's weird because it's not synchronous because like there's some episodes where you can hear heartbeats from the top of a building and they're coming in the bottom door, and then he'll get snuck up on in his
No,
apartment.
but that's like a real thing. Is like blind people have magic powers. Like that's what happens when you go blind. Every blind person I run into. I was in the liquor store the other day and I ran into an old blind man in there, and I went up and I said, "Can I get my 3 wishes?" Like I just immediately ask for that all the time, and they usually give it to you.
I saw.
Well, you always ask for more wishes, right?
Yeah.
No,
So
that's
I
on a
get so
roll.
many
They
wishes.
got that in writing now.
I saw a video of a deaf guy getting
Oh,
told,
jeez.
getting told that his wife is pregnant, and man, that was pathetic.
How was he
Nation Radio,
told?
the first episode.
I didn't say anything unclean. You know? I'm just kind of letting the,
Pathetic.
Not like their
viewers,
marriage.
the listeners know the kind of guy I am.
Wait,
So-
was he able to read the lips, or was
Oh,
it signed
no,
to
she
him?
just like handed him this stick wrapped up. It's all like, oh, it's positive or whatever, and then he was
Uh.
like, oh my god.
I saw the same video. That should go in the game we're gonna play later with Jack. Cameron's the opposite in this scenario. But yeah, I mean, they you know, people always say, and I wonder to what extent it actually is that whenever you lose one of your senses, your other ones kind of make up for it in a way. But you know, clearly not to Daredevil type. You got to have some chemicals in there.
I think it depends on like how dependent we are on the individual sense. Like
Yeah.
if I lose taste, I'm not going to increase my hearing.
So
Huh?
if
yes.
if a blind person started taking HGH, would that then intensify their other things, and it's like a growth hormone?
They'd
Further.
probably like
Good question.
get $1 million contract and then beat somebody in the NFL.
Oh, how cool would that be? Like a blind quarterback.
They call it the blind side.
Yeah.
Oh, it's already been done. It's already been done, guys.
He plays for Carolina.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. For a couple of years now.
Yep.
Right?
I
Okay,
think he's injured right now. That's the extent of my sports knowledge.
Yeah, yeah. Whenever Drew's here, he can give us a little bit of sports talk before we dive into fast food. So that covers On This Day. So let's talk about this BBC volcano thing, because I brought this up during one of the dry runs. No one seemed to be as astounded by it as I was. Dan, do we have the capability to show that clip at this point? Okay, cool. 'Cause,
That's all practical.
but
I took a natural disasters class in college.
do they teach you how to deal with this scenario?
No, I don't remember anything from it.
So you went in there, and the professor was like, "Tyler, you a natural disaster."
No, actually,
What an
one
assumption
thing.
of an accent.
One thing I do remember, if you have anything involving like two rocks coming together, it's called That's it.
Really?
That is it. I was in that class for a semester.
See, that's where you were saying no one
Look at
got
that guy,
hurt. and
all
then you look at
busted
that guy's
up.
face.
No, I didn't say no one got hurt. I said no one got seriously
hurt.
injured.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
looks fine.
these guys can all walk. They're all talking. He might be concussed, but I'm telling you, this is going to go down as one of the best days in these people's lives because they survived a volcano erupting.
Although
Like,
when-
look right here. There's molten rock raining down on this news crew as they were filming.
They had
Now,
it coming.
I think they're going to have to be clear though, because they're going to be like, "Oh my God, you ran away from the lava." Well,
Yeah, I said it was a volcano. I didn't say anything about lava.
yeah, exactly.
Are we sure this isn't viral campaigning for the new Godzilla movie? It might be.
It might be the new Rampage movie.
Oh yeah.
With The
saw,
Rock.
yeah, that sparked something that I forgot about. Apparently, there's an Egyptian movie about a like an older woman, like 35, 40.
An older woman.
That's how they marketed it. Like,
Okay.
as far as like spinster goes in Egypt, that's like that's very
Oh,
old.
okay.
Oh yeah.
So they were there's this first that all they thought was like this lady who was anonymous put up this video on Facebook looking for a sperm donor, and
As
there's a
you're
whole-
wont to do. You
yeah,
know.
there's a whole lot of backlash though, because like they were people are super upset in Egypt because they're like, this is not the cultural norm. Fast forward, turns out it's a marketing thing for a new movie that they have about a lady that goes on Facebook looking for a sperm donor, and like the backlash was insane. Yeah, it's gonna be a big Egyptian blockbuster, and it has like a big Egyptian actress in it.
Is it like Blockbuster in the vein of like Sisters with Tina or Fey and Amy Poehler, or like what's the big narrative of this woman who goes on
It's-
Facebook?
I heard it on NPR at 1 a.m.
Is it Godzilla's
from the
sperm or something?
From the BBC World Service.
I was hoping it was like "Welcome to Fresh Air" with Terry Gross.
And I heard it, and like the big backlash is like they're getting messages from people that are like, how dare you do something like this? But they'll like comment on that in the video, and then the same people in the inbox will be like, hey, I'll be the sperm donor if you're gonna pay like ever how many thousands of
Yeah,
dollars.
yeah.
Same people.
So weird, man. Viral marketing is, it's people don't really understand it yet. It's still kind of in its infancy. I remember the first like viral marketing that really caught my eye was for Cloverfield. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
And that was because they had this whole fake backstory about that Japanese company with the sodas and stuff like that.
Slusho.
Yeah.
Because then it appeared in Fringe, and it
Oh,
was
yeah?
like, yeah. At one point, Walter in Fringe is drinking out of a Slusho thing, and it's like just because those are both J.J. Abrams produced.
yeah.
And it's like, are they trying to say?
And at the beginning of Cloverfield, you see the what's the thing from Lost? The icon. I
Oh,
forget
the
what
Dharma
they call it.
initiative?
Yeah, the
Okay.
Dharma logo.
you?
Yeah. It flashes at the beginning of because it's like a found footage, so it like flashes at the beginning of all the government things and all that.
Even though I think a lot of the J.J. Abrams like mystery is overhyped, that first trailer for Cloverfield is phenomenal.
Man, it's so good.
And just not revealing the title, just
Yeah.
the date was actually
Yeah.
a huge like, what is
Well,
it?
I'll
I
always
really
remember-
like that movie.
I love that movie.
I
and
do too.
It'll go down for me because it came out on my birthday when I turned either 15 or 16. So I went and I saw it on my birthday, and that was pretty much the movie that really started like the found footage hype. I'm sure there were Blair Witch before then and everything like that, but that was the one that kind of kicked it in the mainstream.
Well, I'd say it was Paranormal Activity that just shot everything, and that was after Cloverfield.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but that just made it huge. And like Cloverfield, a monster movie doing a handheld thing, that's cool. That's an interesting take on it. But then it's like every other genre did not need it.
Yeah,
Is 10 Cloverfield Lane any good?
I liked it.
I heard it's great.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good. It's one of those movies where it's got like the third act twist, and some people like it and are like, and I was kind of like, it's fine, but for me it kind of took away a little bit from everything else. I was just like, it was such a cool kind of like psychological thriller, and then to like all of a sudden just hit like hard like sci-fi like genre stuff. It's kind of like I like stuff like that, but you kind of took something out of it.
Well,
for me
a lot
bit.
of people got lost at that point, but I like that. I thought
Yeah.
I expected something like that.
Yeah, I knew it was coming, but like I didn't hate it like some people did, but I kind of was like, yeah, I mean, like it kind of took away a little bit
Yeah.
from everything else.
Well, I mean,
but-
and that movie totally could have been fine without that twist as
exactly.
just a psychological.
I think it was added in like
because it was
later.
the script, existed unaffiliated
Yeah.
to Cloverfield, to any of that universe.
Yeah,
'cause
the title was something
the
totally
basement,
different.
the
for-
cellar,
yeah,
something like
that. Yeah.
By the way,
Um,
I love the story behind that, or like this dude made a fan film for Portal, and that's what got
Yeah.
him the job to direct 10
That fan
Cloverfield.
film
No
was
way.
so
It's a great fan
good.
film, too.
Yeah.
have you guys seen the clips of the AR portal?
No.
Where they're using augmented reality
I've
to play
heard, but
Portal
I have not
Oh,
seen
in
that's
it.
real
awesome.
life? It's pretty sweet, man. They only have proof of concepts. It's not out yet.
Well, Valve is a proof of concept at this point. They're
Yeah.
frickin' games.
So we got about 2.5 minutes before our first break. So real quick, let's talk about Free Ice Cream Day at
Yes.
Dairy Queen.
All right.
March
Tyler?
20th. Yeah, Tyler, you want to fill us in on this one?
Absolutely. I last year they had a free ice cream day, and I went twice to two different. No, I went 3 times. I went 3 times because I
Once.
was an intern. Once, twice, 3 times. I'm fat. I went to first time I went out. I was
Don't
an
swear on the
intern at Coast 97.3. It's the radio station in town, and I went out with my buddy Big B. He was my mentor, and his name suggests big guy, likes to eat. And I was like, B, there's a free ice cream day coming up. And he said, what? We're going. We go out. Me, him, and a DJ at the station. We all get ice cream. Go back to the station. Finish out my internship for the day. Meet up with a buddy of mine. We go to one Dairy Queen in town and do that, and then we have lunch. And I'm like, okay, all right.
Jeez, time for another ice cream.
I was like, do you want another ice cream cone? He's like, yeah, man, let's go. And then we went to the other DQ, like further downtown.
So you spent the equivalent amount of gas money on an ice cream cone.
But I got 3 ice cream cones. That's
yeah, it is 3. But it's just a soft serve vanilla ice cream cone.
soft serve vanilla or chocolate. You have the option. The reason they do it is because they are trying to raise money for some charity that I do not remember right now.
You didn't get my money.
And that's like they give you the option to pay, and you can either pay and feel like, hey, I'm not a bad person today,
Yeah.
or you don't pay and you get 3 of them.
Yeah. I wonder, I'd like to see statistics on, how many, like how it works out whenever you offer that type thing. Like donate if you want to.
Yeah.
Because it
It's-
has to work, otherwise they wouldn't keep doing it.
There are a lot of comedians that come through Dead Crow that have like posters and that they try to use for like gas money. Like,
Yeah,
I'll get 20 posters for like $100, and I'll try to sell them for whatever it takes to make a profit, $10.
Gotcha.
But they're like, hey, suggested 5, but if you want to just take one for free, it's whatever.
Yeah.
And like, I'm gonna leave the tip jar over there. I'm gonna leave the posters over there. I'll be over here. That way, you don't feel obligated to buy something. And they've said, most of the time that works out a lot better.
Makes sense. I mean, when people aren't forced to do something, they kind of
Mhm.
pulls on your heartstrings. But let's take
Mhm.
our first break, and we'll be back in roughly 10 minutes, guys. Enjoy these words from our sponsors and some music.
Sweet.
All right, guys. Yeah, that funky music.
Can you just jack people up first thing this morning?
That is the goal.
We need more laser noises in this show.
That's the music that comes with our graphic pack, so we'll all be integrated and streamlined here soon.
Oh, nice.
And anyone who is listening right now, let me just say that, of course, it's our first show. We're going to be working out kinks and everything like that and introducing lots of cool bells and whistles as the week goes on, so bear with us.
First of all, let's thank our sponsor, Sydney.
We did that in the breaks. Now, let's get around to these new Monopoly tokens.
Oh boy.
So Tanner, you brought that up to the
heated issue for me.
Yeah.
You want to fill us in on that?
Yeah, so apparently back in, I didn't hear about this until now, but I guess back in January, Hasbro opened up a poll to vote on new Monopoly tokens. Now what they did was they included the ones, there were 64 choices, and that includes the old ones, except one of them had been replaced by the cat back like 3 years ago. So I forget which one, but, because I never played with a cat.
I wanted to say that was the thimble.
No, the thimble just got taken out in this vote.
Let me see if I
Kit
can.
Kat.
So the cat was the only one they've done, recently. So they let people vote, and basically we're getting 3 new Monopoly tokens, which are a rubber ducky, did you say it was a penguin?
Yeah.
Penguin.
And a T-Rex.
Yeah.
They still
And-
got the core.
Yeah,
Hey,
perfect.
I like the
There's
core because it goes fast.
So they kept the, apparently Scotty Dog was actually number 1, because you could vote for the old ones just like you were voting for the new ones. Everyone wanted to keep the dog.
His name's Scotty Dog.
I call him Scotty Dog.
Oh.
You have nicknames.
It's a Tanner.
Well, of course they kept Admiral Woofs.
the
They kept him.
The wheelbarrow's gone. Is that what the cat
yeah,
replaced?
that's what it is. That was the cat replaced the wheelbarrow.
Wheelbarrow.
I know the pieces.
So, real quick, do you think they meant for the wheelbarrow to be like you're wheelbarrowing money, or like Great Depression
No,
wheelbarrow?
Barry the Wheelbarrow is just not like a cool guy in general.
Was that your name too, Barry the wheelbarrow?
Why not? Why do you guys not get that close with these pieces?
Who plays Monopoly?
I have,
nice.
I have finished and won a
dude.
game of Monopoly.
Thanks,
Seriously,
Dan.
I
We've
am-
got the pieces pulled up now.
That's the one on delay too.
I am
Yeah.
a Monopoly fanatic. I've had like 3 or 4 different versions of Monopoly that I own.
Oh, I was
Are you-
about to say.
Yeah.
Dead serious.
I looked up
I love
cat
Monopoly.
Monopoly to see what happened to the cat token, and the first thing that came up was Cat Lovers Monopoly.
It's like the only
Oh,
board
God.
game. I'm
How
down to
scary
play.
is this?
Am I the only one that's actually finished a game of Monopoly and won?
Oh yeah.
Then now, hold on. When
I've
you
done
say
it
finished,
millions of
as in
times. I'm
no
the
one
best.
surrendered, you actually full on bought them all out and
Yes.
won.
Oh.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
That really is.
Am I the only one?
I suppose.
No, I've
Yeah.
done it.
Am I the only one to have lost friends over a game of Monopoly?
No, I'm telling you right now, I've done it several times.
Are you
So
not
I'm the
listening
only
to
one.
Cam?
Not at all. I've drowned him out.
No, I've never really, I've never had a memorable game of Monopoly. I might have won, I might have finished one. I really don't know. I've never been a Monopoly guy.
Used to play Pokemon Monopoly all the time. Back when they licensed that one out. Apparently, there's a Zelda Monopoly board I really want because holy crap, I love Zelda and I would play Monopoly for that. The only board game of that kind of type where it's a long game and it's kind of boring unless you're really into it is Risk. And I'll play
Yeah,
Risk.
I played
Risk
a
is
lot
awesome.
of Risk growing up.
I've
that
never
was
played.
the one.
I played
Yeah.
a 3-day game of Monopoly one time.
Jesus.
I mean, we didn't play all hours in a row, but we played for 4 hours at least.
You're not joking?
Each day. I was on a family vacation on Bald Head Island. It was a lot of my probably 10 people in my family there, and we teamed up, and we were 4 different teams, and we had to play for hours, and all right, we're not done, but let's just leave it here like this, and we'll come back to it
Jeez.
tomorrow.
So you had teams, 4 people would move 1 token?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. Jeez. As
Kid.
if Monopoly doesn't start enough infighting with families, you're going to include everyone.
Yeah, now there's just someone holding a wine opener, just somebody else's throat being like, "Did you move one of the pieces? I saw you come up to
Park
the
Place is
board."
mine.
Oh, dude, yeah, we were
Hey,
all up in each other's business with them.
Hey Dan, can you pull up the pieces again, the picture?
Can we
Because
go
I just wanted to
around?
point something out. The thing is about these, one of these things is not like the other. The T-Rex seems really out of place
Is
compared
it
to all of these.
is it
It's an
inspired by like Jurassic Park? Or
I
what's
think
it-
it's just all the scene kids that voted, and it's like all these Hot Topic kids coming in
If
here.
it was Hot Topic kids trying to be edgy, we'd have a Hitler piece.
I
Right
don't
now.
know.
No, you had to choose what they provided, and I don't think they had like a Hitler piece.
Just a flat swastika that you can move around.
I want to be the swastika.
But like the rubber ducky fits with Monopoly totally, and I buy the penguin, but the T-Rex is just so out of place in that image.
It is
I
interesting,
think
and
dinosaurs are cool.
it's
Yeah.
also interesting that they're all three animals. The rubber ducky is
Yeah.
obviously a toy, but it's based on an animal.
Yeah, I saw some of the other pictures. There was an old-fashioned TV, like a typewriter. I would have actually gone for the old-fashioned TV. I think that actually, because it was not like a plasma. It was like an old like real rabbit ears with a box. You had to
Tube television.
Tanner, do you have a name for each one of these pieces?
no, just Scotty the dog, Barry the wheelbarrow. I don't really have one for the ship, the car, or the hat.
God.
I call the
Hey,
cat
hey,
Whisker Fritters.
Tanner, since this is going out in the air, I'm gonna just go ahead and give you this so you can cement this. You need to start writing the Monopoly screenplay.
Oh,
You already
I will
have
do
the
it in a
names.
heartbeat, dude. Did you ever hear that one they tried to do years ago with Will
Ruh-roh.
Ferrell?
No.
They wanted to do a Monopoly movie with Will Ferrell, and apparently it was going to be like he found Monopoly money that became real money, and like it had nothing to do with Monopoly except he found the game existed in that world. Like it made no sense. But they really wanted to do a Monopoly movie with Will Ferrell.
So he wasn't gonna be the Monopoly guy.
No, but I would write a Monopoly movie in a heartbeat.
No, he was going to play the thimble, and then they got these new pieces, and they canceled the script.
Didn't Johnny Depp play Donald Trump in the Monopoly movie a
No.
couple of years ago?
No, that was like a Funny or Die
Yeah.
sketch.
Were
Oh, were you
I was making a
it?
joke.
Oh, yeah. It's so hard to tell with you.
I know. I have such a flat, monotone,
Yeah.
sarcastic tone.
Yeah, except when you get excited talking about trains.
I
Trains
know.
and wrestling, those are the two things.
Yeah, jeez, don't bring up Thomas
Wait,
anytime.
what was
soon.
it- what
Whoa,
was it during
Thomas!
what was it during the dry runs where we accidentally got the voice wrong on who
I
the
said
narrator was?
I said that George Carlin voiced Thomas, and 15 people jumped on me, and they said I didn't voice Thomas. He was the
narrator.
conductor.
He was the
and
narrator.
It technically, and this and that, and I was like, not today, fellas, not today. And I had a breakdown.
Yeah, you're way more calmer summarizing the story than you actually were during the
You're
Yeah.
actually calmer submarining as well.
Yeah.
Before we move on, can we just each say like what the one piece we would put into Monopoly would be, and go around the room? Start with Cameron.
Like the
Like
one
if-
we would want to see in there.
Like it, not even out of those. Like
Yeah,
it-
just in general.
Your like piece that you want. Like,
Okay.
Out of anything in the world,
Oh,
what would your
man.
piece be?
David Duke.
Cameron.
I just imagine like a sweet old bong, man. Just like a sweet old.
I was about to say that they probably have Monopoly for like it's probably harder to find things that don't have a Monopoly game, but I wonder if there is like marijuana-opoly.
I have definitely been in a head shop before
Yeah.
where it wasn't an officially licensed.
Exactly, yeah.
But it was like a 420 Monopoly game.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? What stoner is gonna play that?
For
like,
real, who has that
like-
span, that attention span?
Like you can barely like absorb like a full match of Titanfall, much less like 12 hours of
Do
Monopoly.
you want to know the 4 versions of Monopoly that I own?
Oh god, yeah.
The
David
origi-
Dukes.
No, the original OG Monopoly.
Cool.
Monopoly, the Here and Now edition. That's where you have like the bills are go up to like 5 million or whatever, and then you have then I had Family Guy Monopoly,
Mhm.
and
Oh god.
and then I had Southportopoly.
Wait,
Southport?
is that one specific to Southport?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
God.
it was very cheaply made and
Yeah.
terrible. I played it once and never touched it again. Family Guy Monopoly's my go-to.
You probably the 420 Monopoly would have higher value than Southport
I just kind of
Monopoly.
wonder like how casual, like pick up a treasure card, go to free parking or whatever. Just kind of,
Yeah. You get a free 2-hour parking pass.
It says go to jail, and everyone just immediately
Yeah,
starts
everyone's
sweating.
sweating.
Everyone's paranoid.
I would, by the way, my pick for
Yeah.
a piece would be the knife that OJ used to murder.
That's a good one.
That
Topical,
is
topical,
absolutely
I like it.
inappropriate.
That is a good one because that's what Monopoly tokens are. They're supposed to, summarize American culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
OJ-opoly.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
That would be fun.
And, you got to have the white Bronco, obviously, as a token.
Oh,
then you got the
yeah.
knife. Then you got the
Robert
glove
Robert Kardashian.
Oh,
You gotta have.
as a token.
As a
As a
token, that's what I
token.
heard. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so my favorite part of watching the People versus O.J. Simpson was then having I just imagined subbing his scenes in that show into Friends, and so the whole thing was just like, Juice, what did you do? Like,
I think everyone, especially David Schwimmer, deserves an award just for the fact that they had to say OJ and Juice constantly with a straight face.
oh god,
Yeah.
it's
Very
so
serious
funny.
scenes.
Yeah,
Can I change my piece that I would add?
go
Yeah,
for it.
absolutely.
Heath Ledger's coffin.
Oh,
Jeez.
Cameron, that is inappropriate. That is not funny.
I was gonna say this even before. I was thinking of things as like cornerstones of American culture, but it kind of works. I just go with a all the way chili dog.
Oh yeah. How about a smallpox blanket? That's what I mean.
If we want to do like 1700s
Yeah.
Monopoly.
The Trail of Tears opoly.
Executive order to intern 100,000 Japanese Americans.
yeah.
Oh
you get
yeah,
that.
Japanese internment camp Monopoly. I would play that.
The real Thanksgiving story
Oh,
Monopoly.
you get George Takei
I
as
was-
a
I didn't
little
want to do it. I didn't want to
You're
mention
just visiting the internment camp.
Jay is a hero of mine.
Instead of you get a get out of internment camp free
Oh,
card. Oh yeah.
and instead of collecting $200, you get an extra ration.
Oh yeah, dude, this game writes itself. I would buy it. It would be the first time I'd play complete Monopoly.
I guess that's why Monopoly is so popular because you can just convert it to any storyline.
yeah.
You took a shower. You're out of the game.
All right.
Bankrupt.
All right.
Tyler, did you ever give your token?
I would. It would be one of two things. I'd either have a token dressed up as a guy like Jack, like that would just be the super grungy looking
Yeah,
kid.
yeah.
That's really like angry for
Disgruntled,
no
yeah,
reason.
for no reason.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
like
think- I
what
don't
exactly
think this
is
would be
going
Jack.
wrong
I
in your
don't share
life?
this opinion.
I forgot my coffee this morning.
Exactly.
Your
Or
clothes don't make you who you are.
No.
or I would I'd put a Hasbro in. A
Ah.
guy dressed as a bro, but he's a token.
Okay, makes sense.
Have
they ever-
has been, bro. That's fun.
It's a flat brimmed hat that you can rotate.
Ooh.
And
You can't take it off.
Have they
Just
ever made
rotate it.
Lego Monopoly?
Lego
I'm
man.
sure.
I'm
Lego
sure they
app.
have, and I have a computer right in front of me, but it's much more fun to speculate.
Yeah.
Probably-
Do you think you have to build the board? That's what I want to know.
That would
That'd
be
be
cool.
fun.
Yeah, like you put
Yeah.
together your hotels and motels and stuff like
You
that.
Yeah.
Holiday
Hotel-
Inn.
I was gonna say it, but I was wondering if anyone
Oh,
else.
God.
Have you ever
Oh,
seen
it's
that
getting hot in
actual
here.
size Monopoly board
Turn
they
that
built?
fan on.
I think it's like in Cali or something. They have an actual size Monopoly board people can walk on.
So it's
to
like
play.
acres.
When you say actual size, do you mean like hotels?
Yeah, like
no,
you have
no.
blocks?
Okay, I should mention like a piece or like like one of the regular areas is probably about I don't know like 3 by
Oh, okay. That's
Five.
that's not actual size.
okay
3 what?
like 3 feet. I don't know.
Do you guys think that like the Godzilla King Kong movie that's coming out, they'll play like giant kaiju Monopoly with the cities and they move stuff together?
Caillou.
That poor little leukemia
I want to
child.
see Caillou Big Battle.
Oh,
That's what I-
yeah.
Because there's like a semi like professional wrestling esque thing that's called a Kaiju Big Battle.
Yeah, that's the
Oh.
most
Yeah.
professional wrestling I've ever watched.
Yep.
Is Kaiju Big Battle.
And is that kayfabe?
There's they do not stray from kayfabe within. the
So
Kaiju
weird
Big
how
Battle
stuff like
world.
that happens because kayfabe. We talked about this during one of the dry runs last week, but that was the first time I've ever heard that term. And then I was
Mhm.
listening to a podcast over the weekend. They were talking about kayfabe.
Yeah.
So
Why don't
weird.
you
For the-
enlighten me on what the
Yeah,
hell
for the-
kayfabe is?
This is a guy that was like, I'm really into wrestling now, Tyler. I'm gonna, and he like, I gave him like 15 DVDs, and he's like, okay,
I'm not that into
that's
wrestling.
enough.
Yeah.
Kayfabe is like the behind the fourth wall. That's their like realness within the
Yeah,
storylines.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like wrestling canon.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wrestling can is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we covered Monopoly. Before we get into nerd culture, let's talk about Chuck Berry and then also Bernie Raisin. Wait,
Wrightson.
Resin.
Excuse me. I
Resin.
don't know this. I didn't know this guy, so I won't pretend that I did. But obviously, Chuck Berry even people who don't know who he is.
Stole rock and roll music from that young white boy in Back to the Future. That's what he did.
Yeah, he's he's credited as the godfather of rock and roll. He pretty much brought what we now know as mainstream rock and roll, which was rhythm and blues, in traditionally African American culture.
Mhm.
He brought that into the mainstream. Johnny B. Good is the song most people know.
Johnny B. Good, Michael B. Jordan.
Women be shopping.
It's true.
And
enough. That's
and then
enough.
My Ding-a-Ling, which I have actually never heard My Ding-a-Ling.
My Dingling is a great song.
And
like,
it's so funny.
it's weird.
I just
but
looked it up this morning. I'd never heard of it. I've heard of it, but never listened to it till this morning. It's pretty fun. That was like one of those first tongue-in-cheek songs,
Mhm.
and you could see they had video from the 50s, and the women in the audience are like blushing. They're like, "Oh my goodness!"
It's Dingling.
And you can tell there's some jungle
Yeah.
fever brewing in there.
Yeah, and
Jesus
he
Christ.
oh god,
Is that offensive?
I don't know.
Well,
it's a
excuse
cuss
me.
word.
I don't mean for it to be offensive.
Yeah. And I mean
That's a $250,000
and we-
fine right there.
Yeah, we also can't forget that Chuck Berry also did get caught in the 70s for owning a series of fast food chains in which he had cameras in the toilets
Oh no.
to watch women.
Oh, no.
Number 1 and number 2.
Yeah.
See,
So you know what? He
Wow.
was an innovator in multiple ways.
My kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's responsible for House Bill 2.
yeah, he did a bunch of
Responsible
great
for
stuff.
the first POV videos.
That's
Yeah.
wild. So
GoPro should be thinking. Chuck
Go
Berry.
poo.
so
The Chuck
uh,
Berry edition of the GoPro. It's waterproof.
I want to see the Chuck Berry edition of Monopoly. That's what I want to see.
Oh yeah, it's just a little camera and a little toilet seat.
but then you also have a guitar.
Yeah.
The guitar is the less mentioned one.
Yeah.
Phone
I
from
never.
Back to the Future. Marvin Berry's holding.
Yeah, I never knew that. And
Yeah.
I guess he didn't take the Mr. Rogers route. He died, after he sort of became a villain. But
Yeah.
There's some Chuck Berry fun facts that I will discuss when we're in break. There's some
Okay,
other
yeah,
good stuff
yeah.
out
Let's
there.
let's
Yeah,
do
there's,
that.
there's
Wow.
some fun stuff. It just goes to show that no matter what messed up stuff you do in life, just give people 20 years and they'll forget about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Until Hannibal Buress brings it up again.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait for his solid 5 about Chuck Berry watching women poop.
Well, I mean, if he didn't, if he wasn't the godfather of rock and roll, that's all we would talk about is cameras in the bathrooms. But
Yeah.
at least he had that.
Then
going
again,
for
he's
him.
he's just Jack's ex-boss from where he used to work.
Oh man,
Is that
we
a true
can't
story?
yes, we can't disclose anymore
jeez, yeah,
on air.
let's not-
We can delve into that after
I was
in
very,
break.
I was
Yeah.
very precise with my wording.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
man.
yeah. I love how that's something that you remember about me because it's my favorite thing to just you're the one person where it's oh yeah, you used to work at a place where after you got fired, dude got caught with the cameras in the bathroom.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were just glad that you got fired and forgot to take the cameras with you.
I just
Yeah.
the thing I'm upset with is I was the best looking guy there. So he fired me, which just goes to show that clearly I, wasn't up to snuff to what he wanted out of
Well,
his beat material.
yeah, I don't think that this
'Cause
guy, if he's putting bathrooms in the toilet,
It
Well, you can't put the bathroom.
or
in
no,
the
yeah,
toilet.
excuse me.
it was an employees only restroom.
Oh,
Yeah, that's where.
wow,
Yeah,
that's-
that's the wrinkle here.
I don't know if that's more disturbing or less.
So he
Yeah.
became
Either way.
infinitely familiar. In what's the word I'm looking for?
Infamous.
Infamous. Infinitely.
No,
Infamous
it's
Second Son.
intimately familiar.
Mm,
Yeah. He got in
Jeez.
all those
Or
cracks and
infamously, I
crevices.
suppose. That's also, yeah.
All right. Well, we got about 2.5 minutes
Wait,
before
hold
our
on.
next break.
Did you really get rid of the air horn?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, because I was gonna say Chuck Berry, more like Chuck Barely. Dur, 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 you know,
I do have this one.
oh,
Okay.
You got a foghorn?
It goes on for no. It's a.
Why
But
do
it
you
goes
have
on
those, but you
forever.
got rid of the air horn?
I just I haven't put it back on there yet.
Please
I
put it
just
back on
rearranged things.
and tell me where it is as soon as you do.
Okay, I'll put the Cameron button on there. So we got about 1:45, real quick. And talk about Bernie for us.
Oh, Bernie writes in, he's the co-creator of the comic character Swamp Thing, and also just an incredibly famous illustrator, particularly within the world of horror. He did a bunch of famous illustrations that people typically associate with Frankenstein, and then he did a bunch of stuff with Stephen King and illustrated stuff for Creepshow. but you odds are if you've seen any sort of like illustration work like horror related, like you've seen his artwork.
Would he
before.
have done the artwork for like Cujo?
Possibly. He's done so much stuff
Yeah.
that it's really hard for me to like get a complete grasp on. Like the famous like series that he did with Stephen King was like The Cycle of the Werewolf, and like he did these series of illustrations to go along with the book, and it was like just as much like a Stephen King like series of like short stories, I believe,
Mhm.
as much as it was like a illustration book, his art within it. Like he worked really close with Stephen King during that.
And he's credited as being a creator of Swamp Thing.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
like
cool.
a main co-creator. Like came up with the design and the complete look of how Swamp Thing is.
God, I love
and-
that design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, he is one of the few comic characters I can think of whose, look has not changed the entire duration of his
Yeah.
existence, which is now at least like 30, 40 years probably. So,
Yeah.
that's really impressive, and it just goes to show what again, another innovator
Mhm.
that he was, and the impact that he's had on work. Like, I would put him up there with people like Jack Kirby in terms of his influence on the realm of comic book illustration. And
Nice.
you
Well,
know.
now I hope Jeremy Bivens is happy.
Yeah.
So let's take our second break, and we'll be right back in about 10 minutes, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, back from break number 2. It is March 20th. Thanks again for tuning in to Prime Nation Radio. So here's about the time where we get into nerd culture, as if we haven't already been swimming all around in nerd culture. So the first thing to talk about is this Matrix news. Last week, everyone was, the news was that Warner Brothers was rebooting or remaking the Matrix, and everyone was all up in arms. But now the writers come out and said that this new script is neither a reboot nor a remake.
Yeah.
So Jack was saying some pretty interesting stuff before we started recording.
Yeah, so Warner Brothers has been it's been in talks for a couple years, this idea that swimming around the studio that they should expand out the Matrix universe in some way and not necessarily reboot it, but maybe do spin-off films, expand out the universe. And so this idea that's been floating around for a while that the studio seems really hot on that they're going to be going with for this new franchise kind of is making a Morpheus spin-off movie. Which
makes a lot of sense with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, because that's the rumor is that they wanted Michael B. Jordan for the lead. So I guess the thing would be he'd be playing a younger Morpheus going into his backstory, which I don't know. I love The Matrix, and I'm even a fan of the 2 sequels. I get the issues that they have, but I'm totally on board with just the Wachowskis and what they do, and them just jumping into the weird philosophy that they have behind those movies.
So if they do a young Morpheus, they would have to sort of explain about how it got to the point where we are in The Matrix.
Yeah, and I mean they kind of did stuff like that. They had all that expanded literature that they did with the Animatrix and the comic books and stuff and the video games, and I bought into all that stuff as a dumb 9-year-old.
Well, see, that's the way you've been phrasing it. There's one thing that you keep saying that keeps I don't know, bugging me. Matrix universe? Is that a universe?
Yeah, absolutely. There's all
okay.
sorts of
Jeez.
stuff. There's a whole backstory to how their world wound up where it was. If you watch the Animatrix, there's basically one of the best shorts within it is this whole triptych, sort of mosaic, I guess, of the history of the world leading up to that point, with man creating an artificial intelligence, the robots having this whole tension, sort of a robot civil rights movement uprising where they're treated as subservient and they come up and dominate and take over the humans because of how they're manipulating them.
Wow.
And there's a bunch of whole other weirdness behind it that
But
I don't understand.
In all those, you never see Morpheus.
No,
Okay.
no, not really at all. Any of the Animatrix stuff, it doesn't have any of those main crew of people from the films. It's kind of all these tertiary characters, and it's more of just that atmosphere. But again, that all just kind of comes down to the Wachowskis and that vision that they had for that universe. And I feel if you're gonna expand upon this, you need their involvement in it within some way.
That's what's different about this. When I know now it's been said, it's not a remake or a reboot, whatever, but it was one of those things where when we thought it was, it's not like the Wachowskis aren't making movies anymore.
Yeah.
They're dead. They're still doing stuff, so it would be really weird in particular if they had decided to reboot it. And Matrix isn't that old.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it came out in 99 and, had a huge, the thing is you just think it's older because of the huge impact that it had.
That was almost 20 years ago.
Don't forget about the
but
red
that's
pill.
Alt-right Cameron Smith, everybody.
Is that what you've been waiting for?
Yeah, don't forget about the red pill or the blue pill.
For 2 minutes.
I've been trying to get my word in.
Yeah.
Too polite.
The Wachowskis were behind all the extra stuff too, the Animatrix, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, they worked with with the Animatrix, they worked with a bunch of anime filmmakers and stuff like that, and gave them kind of free reign to work within their style. But the whole general tone of it comes from them, and they had story credits on a lot of the stuff within it, and I think they're not being involved in it kind of makes sense because Warner Brothers has distributed I think almost every movie they've put out, and the last 2 with Jupiter Ascending and Cloud Atlas didn't have the best critical reception or make a lot of money necessarily.
I know Cloud Atlas, didn't it lose money?
Yeah, I don't think
so.
No.
I don't think so. I don't
Okay.
think it lost money.
No,
and it was critically well received.
Yeah, it was it was really divisive, all of their movies are.
I would say
But I'd
mixed reviews.
But whereas Jupiter Ascending was widely panned, Cloud Atlas people, even though people might not have liked it that much, it was still considered a pretty good movie, whereas people hate Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah.
And I would say that it hasn't been out long enough to even be close to being considered this, but I would almost say it's kind of like a cult sort of thing because Cloud Atlas, because certain people love it and then
Yeah.
other people just don't care.
Yeah,
about
oh
it.
yeah, man. Like it's definitely one of those movies where like the people that love it really love that movie. And I think that's the case with like almost everything that they've made, with the
Yeah.
exception of Jupiter Ascending, which
Yeah.
I like that movie. I don't hate it. I think it's a fun movie. I can't fault something that's as weird as it is. But the thing with it is like legitimately probably the one movie they've made other than Bound, their directorial debut, that's not like an innovative movie,
Yeah.
like, and that's affected like the way like films are made for like the next 10 years, like everything else they've made has.
Cameron, have you seen Cloud Atlas?
No.
Okay, never mind. keep the ball rolling, fellas.
Well, just going back to like this Matrix continuation. So, do you guys, obviously, Jack, you think it's really cool? I just do not care. Like, I'm just very ambivalent towards the whole, even if it's a Morpheus prequel.
Yeah, I mean, I am ambivalent towards it just because of the lack of involvement of the Wachowskis within it.
That's fair. I would be more interested if they said they were actually coming back to do
Yeah,
it. Then
yeah.
suddenly my interest is back up.
Because the way they seem to be running this is the way like they seem to be running like a lot of franchise stuff now with this expanded universe stuff, where they run it like a writer's room for like a
Yeah.
TV series. And if they did that and had the Wachowskis like at the reins as the sort of like quote unquote showrunners of the whole
Yeah.
thing, I would be totally on board with that. But like
They've-
as
I
of
don't
now,
think doing the writer's room for Hollywood movies is the worst idea.
No.
I think it could totally work.
no,
oh
if
yeah,
you're-
and I mean
yeah.
most big movies nowadays are written by committee. Like it's very rare that you
Oh
have.
yeah, like no better example than I enjoyed it, but Kong Skull Island.
Yeah.
Like you look at like screenplay by at the end of that movie, and it's by 3 separate writers, and all of those dudes have had like hands in like rewriting like all of these major blockbuster scripts.
And with any movie, you get so many pass-throughs of the script that people make additions to that they just get a check that they don't get credit for.
yeah,
Dude,
So-
the one I remember, and I don't know if you guys might remember this movie, Cowboys and Aliens, directed by Jon
yeah.
Favreau. That was a
John Favreau directed that.
oh yes sir.
That was-
That's like
to me-
one of his only misses.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that movie, and that was the first time I noticed when it said like screenplay by, it was 8 people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and that's not even including people who probably came in to do punch-ups.
Yep.
So that was where
Yeah.
it's like that the tone of that movie is all over the place. If it had had a consistent tone, it probably would have been better.
Yeah, and that's one of those movies like that belongs in the camp where it's adapted from a comic book, but the comic was made for the express purpose
Yeah.
of getting turned into a movie.
That was during that point where what was
Uh.
it that got adapted? One of the big comic books that gotten adapted. I think it might have been-
Watchmen.
Not what?
Watchmen.
No, but it was like something like History of Violence or something where it was like, here we can make a comic book, or this comic book no one's read, and we can turn it into a movie and say it's based on the comic.
Yeah, like Road to Perdition and
I think that was it.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that was one, and then like A History of Violence. Both of those are like adapted from like really obscure, like I think Vertigo distributed
Yeah.
like
Is
graphic
Abraham
novels.
Lincoln Vampire Hunter? Is that a comic?
Not
That's
it's a book.
Yeah.
And actually, the guy who wrote the book was set to direct the Flash movie.
Ah.
That dude is a hack.
I just
Dude,
looked
he
up.
helped write the Lego movie.
I just
or
looked
Lego
up
Batman.
Cloud Atlas on my phone, and it turns out Tom Hanks is in that movie, and I know
Yeah.
who that is.
yeah, he
Yeah,
plays
you know
an
how he-
Asian man in it.
You know Halle Berry as well.
Yeah.
There's that song about her.
You know her personally, right?
No, I just know that song.
So we're-
I think
Halle
it's
Berry.
Hurricane Chris. Yeah,
Halle Berry.
Halle
Hallelujah.
Berry.
That's Kendrick, isn't it?
No, that's
Yeah.
not Kendrick, is it?
Mhm.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is it?
Mhm.
No.
It
No.
is.
Who is it?
Yeah, I
Is it
just
her?
said,
What?
said it's Hurricane Chris.
No.
See?
There's a.
I know.
Pretty sure there's a Kendrick line that says Halle Berry, Hallelujah.
Yeah, Kendrick does definitely say
It's
it.
a line, but there's a whole song.
He
by
might be
Hurricane
adapting
Chris.
it.
It's like the hook is like Halle Berry, Halle Berry.
Oh, okay. That one, yes.
There's
Yep.
like a whole
You gotta talk into the mic.
The other song that you were talking about, that you're referring to, is called it's like Evan Promise. It's by A$AP Rocky, but Kendrick.
Oh, okay.
That's
Kendrick's.
right.
Okay.
So it turns out you know nothing about anything, Tyler. and
I'm just
everything
trying
there
to
is to
help.
know about Cloud Atlas.
Yeah, Tyler Wood,
That's
real
the
hip hop. Everybody.
Last time I helped Cameron out, I will not let him talk anymore.
Well, speaking of talking, let's see if we can involve some more people with life and the Venom thing. Maybe,
Okay,
maybe,
okay.
maybe that's something that Cameron can jump into.
We'll take a crack at it, I guess.
So I'll give the broad strokes. Life is this new movie coming out with Jake Gyllenhaal, Ryan Reynolds. It's set in the space station. They pick up a Martian life form, and things go wrong. But in the trailer, they recycled a clip from Spider-Man 3. So that started off this whole
I'm very interested in like how did they do that? Like, what clip did they recycle from Spider-Man 3?
just people looking up in Times Square. It's such an innocuous clip,
Huh.
but someone just happened to remember.
They do that all the
Yeah.
time, though, particularly with trailers,
Yeah.
like whether it's music or just like incidental scenes.
It's
Who's
just-
the person that makes that decision? Is it like the producers? Is it like
No,
Could be
it's
the
the
trailer house,
yeah,
or
it's
whoever
the
makes
company
the
that
trailer.
the company that edits the trailers,
Okay.
and both films are owned and distributed by
Yeah.
Sony.
And
so-
truthfully,
Okay.
like the producers probably watched the trailer and didn't even pick up on it themselves.
Well, 'cause who remembers-
Sony's not known for quality.
Well,
No.
it's just mind blowing to me that someone like Tanner, I feel like, was about to say, like, who in the world remembers that 2-second
Yeah.
clip of people looking up in Spider-Man 3?
Somebody on Reddit remembers,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah,
like,
that's the
no
simplest
matter what
definition.
it is, there's some douche on Reddit that's going to come in and be like, that's from this one thing.
Reddit remembers, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that started off this whole theory, which is just a BS theory, but it's fun to think about because the
Is it because it implies that there's a Venom movie being made? Which
There is.
Yeah.
Which is
not.
Have you even
fun.
said it yet?
no, I haven't finished.
Tanner just he's already talking about it.
So the live trailer pulled a clip from Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 infamously brought Venom to the big screen and dancing Peter Parker, and so people put two and two together. You got this alien life form. People are just fun little fan theory that it could tie into this Venom movie that that Sony just announced that is coming out in October 2018 with no director. I guess they have a finished script.
Yeah, apparently there's a script that's totally done,
Mhm.
and but there's no director or stars attached
Yeah.
whatsoever. It's like this project that's been talked about for probably 2 decades at this point, and it's just one of those movies that I just chalk into like the pile of just like it's never gonna get made.
Well, it's
I
like
did that with Deadpool though.
Yeah, but
I
like
did that with Deadpool for
that's
years.
like the Akira movie. I mean, I did that with Ghost in a Shell, and sure enough, that's coming out, and
I did that with Citizen Kane, and sure enough,
Yeah. never forget.
That Citizen Kane remake is coming, by the way.
Yeah.
That prequel, I'm sure it's coming with Michael B. Jordan.
But the interesting thing about it is that the writers for Life, who also wrote Deadpool, they wrote an early script of Venom, probably totally unaffiliated with this one that's coming out in 2018. So it's just a bunch of like little happy coincidences that sort of tie in this theory. And the writers and director came out yesterday and said, "Well, we're not saying it's not a Venom prequel, just tongue in cheek. They know it's BS too." But it's just fun to think about. And we talked about that Life movie in one of the dry runs. But I'm really interested to see how that pans out because I like the alien that they're using. It looks somewhat original and
Well, it's Venom by this standard.
Yeah.
I mean, like, can we just... Okay, so now that we know it's a Venom movie, is anyone here excited at the prospect of a Venom movie?
yeah,
Venom.
I want to
is-
see him on screen.
Venom is a
We did.
synonym for poison, and that's bad.
An astute
Aside
observation
from the
by
sound
Cam Boy
argument
Smith.
from Cam that cannot be refuted, does anyone have any other
You're
arguments?
just gonna let him
against-
call you?
I mean,
Cam
I
like
think,
that?
yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
would
Like
like,
he knows you.
Yeah.
I would prefer like a documentary on the black metal band Venom as opposed to just like a movie that has nothing to do with Spider-Man whatsoever.
That's-
It's just like, let's just throw Venom, give him his own solo
Yeah.
movie.
That's
It's like,
where-
who
So does he have the
cares?
spider on his chest? 'Cause, like, how do you get all these Spider-Man related things that Venom has?
Yeah, that's where they lose me is if they're trying to make it just Venom and act like Spider-Man doesn't even exist.
Is
there.
Venom gonna be the protagonist
Yeah.
in a Venom movie?
Honestly, I like that more. I like the fact that they might just do a Venom movie, not acknowledge Spider-Man at all, because a lot of
I do too. I hate Spider-Man.
it's not that I hate Spider-Man.
I hate Spider-Man.
But like
Go to hell, Cam.
you think about the stuff with the Dark Knight trilogy with Christopher Nolan.
Mhm.
Like nothing. There were some things that he took liberty with in that universe that it was like, okay, this isn't a DC universe. This is just Batman. It's a standalone movie. And I think him focusing on that is what made that a better movie instead of trying to do a like down the line. This is how the story says it goes. This is how it's going to happen
Yeah.
with him.
Yeah.
Well, look, I believe that anything can be made into a good movie. I don't
Okay,
think
Tam.
I don't think they're gonna make this Venom into a good. Damn it, Cameron! I don't think they're gonna make this Venom into a good movie. I think like if they wanted to do something kind of cool, they can do the Agent Venom thing they did in the comics, where they repurposed the Venom suit to become like a Black Ops weapon and set him on suicide missions,
What?
which was awesome.
I think they're gonna have to include Carnage. Like
Nice
you
one.
have to
No,
have
That's so dumb.
Carnage is the worst.
you
I
have to
actually do
have
like
some
Venom.
other symbiote to pose a threat.
No,
to
here's
Venom.
here's how you if here's how they could do it right and do a straightforward like Venom movie or
Yeah,
whatever,
listen here,
and
Tan.
and you you just make like a straightforward like body horror movie movie, and you have like this whole movie that's just this like guy having this like alien like thing overtaking his body and like adjusting to it and stuff like that, and almost just make like a straight like Cronenberg horror film as opposed to, you know, like a straightforward like superhero movie, which I can't imagine. I don't know what they're gonna do with this.
Yeah.
It just screams like bad idea. And if you go like I think like going like the Nolan route on anything is such like a tired thing by now.
Well,
and
no
it's
one
just
can
proven
do
that
it but
doesn't work.
Nolan.
What do you mean by the Nolan route?
Where it's just like, you know, if we just take creative liberties with it, put it in a stark realistic universe
Yeah.
and make everything real depressing and not unfunny, and then it's just like, well, you've taken like all the joy out of anything. Like Nolan's a good visual filmmaker.
Okay, but I'm not super
Yeah.
familiar with Venom the comics. Is it a very happy-go-lucky story, or is it kind of dark?
No, I haven't read solo Venom titles.
I have. It's continuously dark. There's very rarely a fun Venom story. In
Nolan
fact,
would be
I'm
good,
really
then.
struggling to think of one that was like, here's a fun, happy-go-lucky Venom. It's always dark, but the best Venom stories aren't the ones that are realistic. They're ones where they go freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Who's the guy that directed Nymphomaniac?
Lars von Trier.
Yeah, he should do Venom.
Yeah, he should do Venom. There could be like a whole, it's like just a whole allegory for how difficult it is to be a filmmaker.
Some hard metal music.
Yeah.
You get
Full penetration.
well, you get point of view shots of the symbiote
Yeah.
spraying onto you.
Yeah.
It's again like if you take the Spider-Man stuff away, you're right. The best way to go with it is kind of what Jack said, probably a body horror thing, because it's a symbiote attaching itself to someone that also exerts control. That's the horror of Venom. That is his entire gimmick. Anything else is secondary.
Yeah, and I think it makes logistical sense from like the perspective of like, I think this is Sony looking at like, oh, Logan made a bunch of money.
Yep.
And
it's definitely gonna be
Deadpool-
R-rated.
Yeah, Deadpool proved that it's not just a one-hit wonder. So we have like what properties do we have that we can make like an R-rated thing on? Because
Yeah.
now it just comes down to just like, what properties do we own or that we can get our hands on in order to make money off
Well,
of it?
and tying that back into the Matrix, and someone brought this up during a dry run, but I mean, it seems like they're just trying to hedge their bets with the Matrix against the DC properties.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the DC thing, like, I mean, they just announced last week that the script for the Batman movie is being completely rewritten.
Yeah. And
which-
Aquaman now is gonna
it's been
supposedly.
it's pushed back 2 months.
Well, yeah, because Aquaman is now supposedly gonna fill the date.
Well, because Venom took Aquaman's date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
cool. I like Aquaman is somehow like the one I'm like least suspect of.
Yeah.
And that's literally just because it's written and directed by James Wan, and you have a guy who has like a very good track record with the movies he's made.
Yeah,
I
it just-
I just hate that casting.
Yeah,
Or I
like,
hate that redesign. Actually, the casting would be fine if they made him more of a fun character, but he looks, again, so serious.
Well,
And-
it's the Zack Snyder DC verse. No one's having fun.
everybody's like an alpha bro.
Yeah,
that's
no
like
one-
a step away
I
from.
I
punching
love
you.
the aesthetic that they're going for
I do
with
not.
Aquaman.
Oh,
like the
oof.
the shot of him going in the ocean in that last trailer. I loved that. I'm interested to see what happens when it's a full movie. You know, with all the effects
It's
and everything
like-
like that they're gonna need.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm excited for it, and I don't know, man. I've never been the type to just be automatically negative about an idea. Like with Venom, I always say give it a
no,
shot.
Nazism, I was pretty like, no. Not,
You were
not
around
a-
for that?
I
Back
just,
in the
at this
30s.
point, I kind of am.
You're like, this guy, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess for Tanner's sake, I'll clarify. When it comes to a creative movie idea, I'm always willing to give it a shot. I never want to automatically discredit it until news comes out that does discredit it. So like for Venom, yeah, I'm happy they're giving it a shot. As a kid, I always wanted to see Venom on the screen, and Spider-Man 3 was a huge letdown.
Because as a kid, Venom's cool, and then you get older and you realize how one note he can be, how he usually is. Carnage is the worst. in
I mean,
fairness,
any
like-
character can be one note. It's how much you can expand on it.
And
That's
some
what this
people-
movie is going to have to do.
And I just doubt that they will. I really doubt that Sony is going to hire the people to do it properly.
I mean, you have a character that's created by Todd McFarlane, so it's not like a character you can really expand out on. The dude's whole like aesthetic is just like, I give this guy some big muscles, right? And then maybe like some scary makeup or something, huh? And then look, I made Spawn.
What else has he done?
He did Spawn.
Venom
What else
or
has he done
Todd-
other than that?
Oh, created Image Comics, but Spawn and
Okay.
Spawn.
And then he
What-
merchandised everything.
Yeah, and toys.
Yeah, screwed over Neil Gaiman.
Yeah.
Some of that.
He and he's like, this will give you a perspective on what type of personality he is. he became a professional comic book artist because he like threw his shoulder out or something like that, and that blew his chances at being a minor league baseball player.
And then we have Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like a 14-year-old boy replaced him.
Well,
exactly.
I am enjoying the superhero talk.
Yeah.
Along the lines of Spawn, we haven't talked about this at all. You've seen Kevin Smith is doing the BBC series,
Wait, what?
Sam and Twitch.
Oh yeah, I like Sam and Twitch, but anything Kevin Smith affiliated, I'm like, hey, I would rather drink bong water.
All
It's
right.
the
That's
same
another
effect.
opinion that I can't get behind, man. When people automatically discredit Kevin Smith, man,
It's
He's
not
so-
automatic. Like we heard his name, we saw his works. And
Yeah,
are forming our
Whoa,
opinion
whoa, whoa,
based
whoa.
on
I've
that.
seen
Time out,
everything
time out.
he's made.
Time out. Have you read Quiver?
Yeah,
The Green Arrow
that was
story.
written over 20 years ago.
But that is a Kevin Smith.
Have you read
product.
his other comics that he's written since then?
Regardless,
They're
you
all
are-
really bad.
That is a good story.
That's a
Well,
good story.
Where's
It's
the comic
ones-
that you've written, Jack?
That's not
Jack.
fair. That's not fair. You
That's
can't do
where you
that.
go?
You can't do that.
That's where you go.
No,
Where's
I
I've
mean,
never
no,
been president.
I
mean-
am kind of like I kind of agree with Jack. Like I had a friend that was really into Kevin Smith, and I just wasn't into him as much. I think that there are Kevin Smith movies where his style works. Like
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Like Jay and Silent Bob Strike
Yeah.
Back. I like that one, and I really like Tusk. Honestly,
Yeah.
those are probably the only two. Like Tusk, I like in a probably more sarcastic, ridiculous way, and then. Jay and Silent Bob is just kind of like that is the Kevin Smith movie for me, where it's like, okay, that's just
That was like the defining movie of my childhood. I saw that when I was like 5, and that just and then I watched it repeatedly. I've probably seen that movie like 100 times.
But like anything. Oh, and I mean, I'm sure this isn't, going to be someone that we're all going to agree on. But I liked Zack and Miri Make a Porno too.
It's like his most like straightforward.
Yeah.
And it honestly
Those-
it doesn't feel much like
yeah.
a Kevin Smith.
I don't hate it, but I think it's a movie that just kind of like hangs there, where you're like, yeah, it's fine.
Real quick though,
Yeah.
Tyler, and then we'll go to our last break.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not defending Kevin Smith in any respect. I'm not a fan of his like general overall aesthetic from like Mallrats or any of the other. Like I'm not a fan of Jay and Silent Bob. What I'm saying is don't discredit him fully. Like I think that you might just have a Kevin Smith bias where you're not a fan of his particular.
Exactly.
No,
But that's what I
style.
think a lot
No,
of.
it's not, because I loved his stuff growing up. I saw him live like when I was 13. I loved Kevin Smith.
When did you
Uh,
drop
and-
out? What did it for you, Jack?
I think
What happened?
when I like turned like 20.
Did you meet him backstage?
And then I was no, the thing that I think soured me on Kevin Smith was just like he lost it, like genuinely, like certain artists, like they just stopped making good stuff. Like I think Clerks is a really great movie, and I think Dogma is a really good, but like
Oh, I like
everything,
Dogma, too.
I think
Yeah.
everything else like really loses me. I really enjoyed Red State. I thought he made a really solid horror
Well,
movie
he hasn't
there.
done much since then.
No, he's done
He
Tusk
has.
and he's done Yoga Hosers,
Yeah.
which are barely movies.
Those
But-
are two
and-
things
and-
in the
and
last
he's-
10 years.
But no,
No, he's made a lot of stuff, and he also, writes plenty of comics that I have unfortunately bought and read, including his awful Spider-Man Black Cat miniseries, his 2 awful Batman miniseries.
he's
like-
always staying busy. He's
He directed-
directing.
Yeah.
He's directing all like a ton of CW shows
Yeah, he
for their
directed a good
DC
episode of
stuff.
Flash.
He directed one of the most renowned episodes of Supergirl that played a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago.
I've heard
Um,
bad things about his Batman runs.
Yeah, and here's like why the perfect example why I don't like him. Any full-grown man that turns 40 years old and decides,
And
you know what,
names
I'm
his daughter
really
Harley
gonna get
Quinn.
into smoking weed. That's when it's like, yeah, you're kind of a loser. Like
I
when
did
you
like
just,
his
like-
stories of when he started smoking weed and was directing Bruce Willis and Comic.
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
I love that is the one thing that I love about present day.
Hey, we got to
Kevin
take a
Smith.
break. We'll pick this back up when we talk when we get back. Thank you guys. Break number 3.
You're talking about like Bruce Willis getting in his face.
Yeah, that's the one like current thing that I love about Kevin Smith.
I thought they all had autism.
I thought it was just an allegory. I thought the whole street was different mental
Yeah.
disassociative.
Are you implying that the gayness of Bernie and Ert is an illness?
Yo.
I say Bernie and
Oh.
Did you just imply that?
Bert and Ernie.
Bernie
Bernie.
doesn't have.
Bernie and Ert.
The top 10 or 1% of gay puppets.
I promise you, trains on every street corner.
Oh, thank you very much, JFK. I promise you.
Is that what my?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Oh, I promise you. Wow.
Well,
Do I
this,
just have natural JFK?
Our broadcasting thing has stopped working.
Well, you're listening to Richard Nixon on the radio.
You're listening to Richard. That's basically my Bernie. All right. So what does this mean?
I don't know. Let me ask Dan if we're live on video.
Yes, Queen.
I love Broad City so much. It's such a good show, and it's so innovative. I love
I
women.
suppose if anyone can still hear music,
Women are just as funny as men.
I'll get this sorted out as soon as it's operational again.
I'm sorry.
I guess I missed
Everything
something.
a woman can do, a man can do, and vice versa. Hillary, what do you think?
All right, let's get back to it, guys. Jack is going to put those sign spinning skills to use.
Sweet dubstep jams.
Back from break number 3. This is our final segment for Prime Nation. Still our first episode. Thank you for anyone who's been with us. Let's jump
Welcome.
right into our guest segment. Jack is our in-house movie expert.
Hello, expert is a loose title, I would say.
I gave it to you, so
Yeah.
you get to escape that blame.
It's like being knighted.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
More like Flexpert.
Yeah, I do. You like that? Really?
Nope.
The VR
No.
camera's getting those big old juicy biceps.
You get to grab those biceps and complete 360 degrees. Oh man, yeah, movie expert.
muted? I think you might be muted, but yeah. So Jack, let's jump into your movie segment.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on.
So we talked about this in one of the dry runs when I was on here, but I went and saw Logan the other week, and I really loved it.
Are you about to spoiler?
No,
Thank God.
it does just lead into like my whole idea for today's show, which is I was pretty misty-eyed almost as soon as the movie started. Because I just go to movies and I immediately become more emotional for whatever reason. It's like how you hear about people crying on planes all the time. It's like this weird thing where I just like am in this environment and it's just like the most subtle thing can just make me cry. So it's just like it belongs in that camp of movies that just made me cry unnecessarily hard.
Yeah.
Like when I went and saw Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and like the first 20 minutes of that movie like is just like silent ape interaction and them like hunting, and I remember just like sitting there, I'm like, this is so beautiful. Like, I don't know why I just love it so much. And I again, just another like unnecessarily movie to get like the waterworks at.
Huh.
And I know Cameron has a very good one.
Oh, no.
Cameron's not a super emotional fella,
I'm not.
and you don't cry at many
I'm-
things.
There's only one movie that's made me cry. I was young. Okay, that's my excuse.
Let him guess.
Cars
though.
2.
Who
Cars 2.
starred in it?
Yeah, give us that.
Can you just take a wild turkey guess, any of you other than Jack? I'll describe the scene for you. Okay?
Is it Shrek?
No, it's not an animated movie. Keep in mind, like, I really only, like, for a long time, I really only watched animated things. And then I started watching some live action stuff, but it was, like, very specifically comedy. So then I'm watching comedy movies, and then I go to one comedy movie that's a little more dramatic than most comedy movies I watch. And the scene is the main character.
Okay, time for our next break.
The main character, he's, you know, become pretty apathetic with his life, and he's skipping around, and he gets to this one part Or it was Click. All right, it was Click.
Yeah.
Click made me cry.
Cameron cried at Click.
The part where his dad is like trying to talk to him,
yeah.
and then he
That's actually a
basically
great
tells him
moment,
to
though.
like get
I'm
away
busy,
from me. He tells him
yeah.
to buzz off while he's on autopilot, and then it just shows
That's
that shot of
right.
his dad just sad walking away, just like, and that's the last time he sees him. Then he dies.
That's right.
His
And he
dad-
keeps replaying it, and then I'm like, man.
His dad was the Fonz, right?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
Henry Winkler.
Henry Winkler,
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Click.
I feel like
It's a good
Oh,
movie.
really?
Click
It might
actually-
make
It is.
you cry.
I don't believe that.
No. Click could be. Click's a fine movie that could be way better if it wasn't an Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah.
I would say that I was about to say I'm not going to argue that it couldn't have been better with someone else, but I mean I think it was a good pick for Adam Sandler as well. But I think it was probably one of the last Sandler movies that was watchable.
Yeah, it would have
Yeah,
been better
I-
with Kevin James.
I'd say so. Would have been better with Kevin James, directed by Kevin Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Here's my
well,
problem.
Kevin James is already half walrus, so there's not much they could have done there.
Here's my problem with Click. It's that, like, I mean, the whole movie, like, the whole reason anything goes wrong is just because of one feature on that remote. It's that it remembers it, like, and you can't
Yeah.
control.
That's true.
You can't control, like, oh, this memory feature, I can't control it. It's just a.
Is that the 9/11 button?
No, it just
It-
automatically. If you like skip through a thing, like you argue with your wife or whatever, and you skip it once, it remembers that you
Yeah,
like,
it
skipping
never
your wife, so
forgets.
you never get to argue with
Yeah.
your wife anymore. So yeah, the 9/11 button.
Never forget.
Who plays what like unnaturally hot woman plays Adam
Oh,
Sandler's
yeah.
wife in that movie?
Aunt
no,
May.
no, it's not that
Aunt
she's
May.
unnaturally
Jason
hot,
Mewes.
It's that the marriage is unnatural.
Jason.
I'm pretty sure it's Marissa Tomei.
It's Marissa Tomei. Nice.
Yeah.
But you know what? She's hot in like an attainable way.
Exactly.
Like,
Like,
where
Adam
it's just
Sandler could pull her.
No, no,
in.
wait.
No, I
no,
doubt it.
it's Kate Beckinsale.
Oh, yeah, not hot in an attainable way. Yeah,
Which
that
movie?
makes no sense.
Which
She's
movie
gorgeous.
was it that Marissa Tomei?
Oh, you're thinking of what's the Pixels? I was like
Oh,
about to be like, what's
God.
the game? Did you see
No,
that?
I never saw that.
Yeah,
no.
she's definitely. I'm
Ugh.
like 90%
Oh,
sure
no.
she's like the romantic
Oh,
lead in
man.
that
I know
movie.
Peter Dinkelberry's in it.
Yeah.
He's a bad actor, right?
I think he's okay.
Like he seems to just play that one character. Like he's
Very
good.
serious.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
very,
just like
very serious right now. Don't pay attention to my height.
yeah.
Actually,
Like,
I
that's
him
all
when
he
does.
does.
Like comedies.
Yeah.
He's great in 30 Rock.
I think he's funny.
I think he's a good actor. I'm not gonna say great. I think he's a good actor.
I think he's funny when he's like in like the right written things, but then he like picks these like horrible roles. It
That's
seems
100%.
like
He picks some really bad.
yeah,
choices.
that's what I think. I mean, I think it's less that he's a bad actor and more that he just has bad taste, like Melissa McCarthy.
I heard Pixels was a good movie.
Hear that from
Why
someone
you-
who's deaf and blind.
Yeah,
Peter Dinklage was great in Elf.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
a great
that-
role for
yeah,
him.
I-
that
he really was,
2-minute
though.
scene.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
Hey.
an elf.
Yeah, he's
at the mall.
Yeah, it's a real
No.
it's
No?
a real short scene.
he's the
So-
famous writer who they bring in.
Oh,
who gets thrown across the table and stuff.
Yeah, because he's like, "Oh, you're an elf."
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, "No, I'm a writer."
No, you're thinking of Artie Lang is the one that's in the shopping mall scene. as
That's
Oh,
the,
it's
Santa.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, who just got arrested again, didn't he?
Yeah, sad. Yeah, he relapsed and
Ah.
like got caught with like possession of like heroin.
And
Unfortunately,
Oh,
Tyler, just so
no.
you know, whenever you yell, just back up a little bit.
Okay, all right. My bad,
You don't want to
Cameron.
yell right into the mic.
So the next time we bring up trains, let's just remember. we gotta have the train buffer.
Now you
can
get
we
it.
record a whole episode on a train? Like just Tyler being like, "Oh my God, there's just so many things in here. I can't wait to tell you guys about."
So to jump right into the guest segment, you know,
Train
you
episode and not bring Tyler on.
Yeah, it's just
we all
have him in an isolation.
The one day he's
tank.
sick.
or we just we
I'm in
we,
a car following behind.
Let's buy train tickets.
we tell Tyler that we're gonna skip a day of shooting, and then we just go live and send it only to him.
Yeah, we just like we
Live
don't
to
even
his
have
Facebook
to, yeah,
wall.
Yeah.
To tie it back, Cameron. We definitely don't have to buy train tickets. I'm pretty sure you can just wander on, and they're like, "Oh, great, people are here today."
Yeah,
Hop
but-
a train for
They're-
an episode.
They're pretty cheap. I've looked them up.
yeah, they are. No, it's a great.
Oh yeah,
way to
I actually
go.
saw this thing.
Oh,
where
everyone's serious about trains all of a sudden.
Look, we're all autistic.
someone
Tyler.
mapped out a trip you can go all the way across the United States and see like 12 different landmarks for like $300
Yeah.
on a train.
Yeah, we have a transcontinental railroad. Been around since the
Yeah.
1800s, fellas.
Yeah,
Doesn't
we,
seem like a very
those
good
Chinamen
deal
are
to
very
me.
good at building some rails,
Yeah,
boys.
it brings it back to the internment camps. But
That was-
Whoa, two different.
Jeez.
Whoa,
Yeah.
yeah,
Whoa.
there were
Yeah.
Chinamen and then there were Japs that were put in the internment
Whoa!
camps. But
Whoa!
look, that is
you don't
not
think
a
there was some
250
mix up there? You don't think someone made a mistake along the way? I guarantee
no,
it.
because they
Jack made
look
mistakes.
somebody
There's slurs on the radio.
because somebody walked up to the internment camp in line and they were like, "Oh, your last name is Kim. Go in the other line. You don't have to go in here."
Yeah, definitely. In the 50s, people were like, "What is this Korean man doing in here?"
Uh-huh.
Hey, their barbecue is different, okay?
So, to get back to the segment, Jack cried at Logan, which crying
whole-
at the beginning is
Whole
definitely
movie.
not. Yeah.
I would say after he's just slicing throats.
Spoilers for the train boy over there.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, so after he's just like slicing throats, you know, and then it's just like him like meditatively driving through the desert. I'm just like, oh man, look at him. And it's like the first time Hugh Jackman's been good at anything other than like dancing and pretending not to be gay.
and
Like,
singing. He has a hell of a voice.
Yeah,
He does,
he's great.
yeah.
He's great. And he, you know
he's good
how-
in Prisoners.
yeah, like,
Oh,
Prisoners is
yeah.
great. Yeah, I,
I need to
forgot
see
about
that.
that. Yeah,
he
he's
was
really
great
good
as
in that.
the Easter Bunny in Legend of the Guardians.
Huh?
That you guys know what I'm
Are
talking
you
about?
guys talking about? You're talking about like the Justice League movie?
Oh,
that
Holiday Heroes?
Yeah.
Yes. And he's
That-
the Easter Bunny, and
Oh,
he's really
yeah.
good.
Yeah, that movie is like very strange and pretty solid for like a
that
DreamWorks
movie's way
movie.
better than it had any right to be.
Yeah,
Huh.
it is. It's weird. But that's also like a Guillermo del Toro thing. Like that's like an
Yeah.
idea he had or something like that, and had like influence in the story or whatever. He's got some weird thing where he like writes stuff for DreamWorks. Yeah.
Very interesting. But
Yeah.
to get to the segment, we're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
talk about movies.
Yeah, that. But it seems like none of you boys cry at anything.
Are you kidding?
Yeah,
I've
what do you
cried
got?
at stuff, but
Well,
like
I'm trying to think of like a weird movie I've cried out, because the last one I think of where I was bawling, like full on, just like doing, like trying to cover the sounds, was Inside Out, which I know is a cliche answer,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
that was a good one, man. That was
The last one that I was like that at, which of course, I mean, if you don't cry at this, then I question if you have a soul, was Fruitvale Station.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But along those lines, a movie that I cried at that it might be typical, it might not be, was Creed. Also by
Oh,
Ryan Coogler.
yeah, yeah.
Just
I
and it
cried
was
at
it was
that.
when the Rocky theme comes in.
Yeah.
At the end, man, it's just so triumphant. Dude.
I got kind of again misty-eyed when the Rough Riders are just like motorcycles.
Oh, that was it.
driving
That
next-
was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Before even the Rocky theme. Yeah,
Yeah.
when and he's looking up at Rocky out of the window, man. Oh,
and
it's
then
so good.
Stallone's just like, my brain's no good no more. I can't keep going.
Yeah, Julian.
I just love how that whole movie, like the progression of Rocky is like every single movie, like the next one in the franchise, he's just like, I'm even more mushed brain
Yeah.
than I was before.
It's kind of like the Check It Out series with Dr. Steve Bull. Every season, he's a little more like off. Like,
Yeah.
Dude, here's like I was listening to this one podcast and they pointed something out on it that like I was like, oh man, which is just like in the first Rocky movie, like the whole like it's something I always notice, but just like Adrian's like a little like slow, if you know what I mean. And at the beginning,
Yeah.
at the beginning of the movie, like the mob fixers he's with are like, "Hey Rocky, you know where you should take your girl? You should take her to the zoo, 'cause retards love the zoo." And then in the third movie, Adrian takes Rocky to the zoo at the end of the movie after he finds out he has like brain damage.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, oh man, that just like totally ruined that movie
Oh,
for me.
man,
Where
that's
like
funny.
Stallone, if he's that smart, made a conscious decision where he's just like, I sound a little bit even more slow in my old age.
Yeah,
probably
like
just like I like zoos.
yeah.
in
I'm
that
gonna go zoo flip off monkeys.
in
yeah.
that first movie, Adrian is just like a puppet. She's just like
Yeah,
1950s like
yeah.
housewife style.
Yeah, and like Paulie's like just her douchey. That's the thing that I hate most about those movies as they go along with Rocky Balboa, which is like a good movie. But the whole thing is like Adrian's dead, but Paulie, that piece of garbage, is still alive. Like it infuriates me. It's like, no, dude, you should have been like killed in like a gambling debt like 30 years
Yeah,
ago.
If this was real life, yeah.
Yeah.
Another one that I cry at every time, which might be typical, might not be, is the Iron Giant.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
man.
Dude,
Yeah.
Never
whenever
got me.
Oh man, whenever
So
he
good.
points to his chest, Superman.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I love it. I love it so much.
Oh yeah, I mean, like last movie that I saw in theaters that I can think like where I was just like full waterworks, like bawling, was I went and saw that movie Swiss Army Man. You know, the one that
Oh, I
Yeah.
need to see it.
Oh,
yeah,
I need to
it's
see
it's
it, yeah.
fantastic. And I took my 13-year-old brother to see it with me in theaters, and like he and I sat there, and like it's the only movie I've ever seen where like I was laughing out loud and then tears just streaming
Yeah.
down my face at the same time. And he and I, at the end of the movie, credits are rolling, just sat in the theater for like 5 minutes, just kind of like adjusting.
That's cool,
And then
man.
like we're walking out to the car, we both have like our hoodies up, and he's just like, "That was a really good movie."
I actually just remembered another one that made me cry.
Oh.
Also very young. It was one of the Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla movies where like Godzilla was losing.
He
and,
points
like,
to his chest and goes, Super.
yeah, and, like I just remember like Mechagodzilla just fired all this stuff out and he was like bleeding and like dying and I was like, what? No, Godzilla can't lose.
Dude, in a similar way, another one I remember crying at as a kid that I know a lot of people now are saying this scene's way too cheesy and the movie doesn't hold up. Terminator 2, where he's like, John, I know now why you
I
cried.
love it, man.
I know,
Like,
but it's something I cannot do. And he has to lower himself into the lava slowly because he's got to,
Yeah, and
to
he gives
prevent the
the
future from
thumbs
happening, you
up.
got to erase all traces of the robot, including him.
Oh.
yeah, I
Sisterhood of the
love it.
Traveling Pants made me cry.
Yeah. This Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood gives me every time I watch it on TNT.
Julie and Julia is mine. That's
Dude, are you serious?
no, I haven't seen the movie.
Oh, I was gonna say like that's such a horrible and weird movie.
Caddyshack made me cry.
Yeah.
No, I actually just tried to watch Caddyshack for the first time in my life about a month ago, and I couldn't do it.
It's
I had a
hard,
hard
man.
time
Dated,
trying
man.
years
It's
ago.
really
It's
yeah.
dated. Yeah.
It is not held up like some of other Chevy Chase movies.
Oh,
Yeah.
I took an Uber for the first time the other day, and like I was super freaked out by it. And I get in the car, and it turns out it's Bill Murray driving. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
He said you're never
Yeah,
gonna believe
he should-
this.
Yeah, and he always does that, and then he's like, "Hey, fun thing, I'm not going to charge you for this cab ride, but
I was like, "Thanks,
it's
Bill
going to go
Murray."
to the company." That's the thing that I hate about Bill Murray is that it's just like, "I'm going to guest bartend at this place,"
Yeah.
and he goes in and does it. Doesn't charge anybody for any of the drinks. It's just like, what did you do to that like bar owner? Like after they left, like did you?
That's
did
a
you pay
different Bill
them?
Murray
Yeah.
story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where what did that bartender think when the whole night was over? It was just like, well, I didn't make any effing money today because Bill Murray came in and took all my tips.
But then
And then-
again, you're going to have people coming in every day after that, hoping that Bill Murray's going to be their
Then
bartender
Bill
again.
Murray comes in every day after that because it's Groundhog Day.
I mean,
That's
I gotta think, I gotta think Bill Murray would pay the guy. You gotta think so.
Yeah, I'm
We
sure.
got it because we're living in a world where we're like, please don't let Bill Murray be a scumbag. We like
Yeah.
him too much.
Here, okay, so thinking of Bill Murray, this kind of ties in like another just like unnecessary thing in movies that you guys might have more stuff for, which is just like Ghostbusters terrified me when I was a child. Like, and so did Men in Black. Like movies that like those movies freaked me out. Like, do you have any things like that where it's just like it scared you unnecessarily?
To circle back around, I do have a couple movies I've cried at.
Okay.
Or just one, really. I've cried at Gran Torino.
Oh.
Because
Gran Torino.
because Gran Torino in that
because a racist died.
it's the dude reminds me a lot of my grandpa minus like the racism.
You
My
don't
grandpa
say.
my grandpa's not that racist. He's just like
He's not that racist.
He's a 7-year-old dude in North
Yeah,
Carolina.
yeah.
He's the
But he
He-
uses
he's-
those fun like 1920s racist slurs.
Well,
like
he's
he does in that
definitely
movie.
said get off my lawn before.
yeah. But my grandpa reminds me of him, and when he died at the end, I was like, oh, jeez.
And just made it real for you.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then also comic book got me. I read was it Return of the Dark Knight?
Dark Knight Returns?
Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
And that got me right the very
Are you talking about
last.
that like speech at the end or whatever?
Alfred.
That's good. Oh,
Alfred
yeah.
at the end, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A bunch of old dudes. That's
Yeah.
that's the thing that gets me. And then I've cried a couple times when wrestlers retired, but that's about
Yeah.
it.
I actually can think of like 2 other movies I cried at. Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
Which
That's
part?
When he's walking to the tree and this really great music's playing. It's if you watch it again, you'll know what I mean, and maybe you won't cry, but I think you'll understand why. There's something. It's a nice moment, and there's just this beautiful music, and I think that's what really sealed it. Yes. Anyway, The other one was actually I cried near the end of Wreck-It Ralph. I remember I was like
When he said, "I'm
bawling.
going to wreck it."
I'm gonna wreck those emotions.
He pointed to his chest and said, "I'm gonna wreck it."
You wrecked my Ralph.
And I cried in the comic book as well. I remember crying at the end of Y: The Last Man.
Oh
which
yeah,
is-
that'll do
yeah.
it.
Two movies that freaked me out unnecessarily. The first one was The Village.
Okay.
Those like pig mask things, they freaked me
Yeah.
out. Then also the Mothman prophecies.
What? You weren't bored to death?
No, well, I mean, I can't comment on how it is as a movie, and it really wasn't even any particular scene in that movie. It was just that every time I still have this visceral feeling. Every time I would walk our trash can from beside the garage to the road, it was about 100 feet. I would like run because I was convinced that the Mothman was going to swoop down and get me. So I'd just always be looking over my shoulder and running it out to there.
Did you ever go to the village where it supposedly took place?
No.
You never went there?
No.
It's right. It's in West Virginia.
Oh,
Ooh,
no.
I'm never
no,
going
no.
to West
it's a-
Virginia. Ugh.
I was just there in January on the way back from Ohio. We stopped and took pictures. There's a giant statue of Mothman.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's creepy,
Like
man.
the whole story, like why they think like people saw that or whatever. It was like there was like I think it was mining that was going on in that town during
that's
that
right.
time, and there was like toxins in the
Yeah.
atmosphere.
Ah.
So people were basically like hallucinating it. That's like why like they think there was like all this like run of like notorious serial killers like in like like the 60s through like 80s.
In
It's
mining
'cause
towns?
no, like there was lead and gasoline. And the lead in the air from gas like messes with
Yeah.
your brain and kills brain cells.
Have they found a correlation between serial killers and mining towns?
I have no idea, but I would wonder if that would have something to do with
Yeah.
just like because like the whole thing with like the lead and the gas was like they noticed there was like a correlation between like less brain cells and violent behavior.
I listened to this is actually in the same BBC news thing while I was on my way back from Raleigh the other day. They interviewed a mayor from a mining town in Wyoming, and she said
She
yeah
a female mayor.
it floored me what she said. She said, I don't
What'd I tell you, Jack?
understand how these environmentalists can get so upset when you look at other countries like China and countries like that aren't cutting down their pollution. How can you get mad at us? And she said clean coal so many times that I wanted to go to that little town in West
Oh my
Virginia and
God.
beat her head in with clean coal.
Whoa.
Wow.
Well,
Because
clearly
you can't find it. I can't do
thought
it.
this
There's
was
no
a
such.
progressive story about a woman, and then it turned into the complete opposite.
Well, she must not have been paying attention to cancer rates in China because they might not be loosening
that's-
up their.
You can't get mad at us. They're doing it elsewhere.
Yeah, that's so ridiculous, man. Because seriously, like, I remember when I was in high school, we watched this documentary about it. So I'm sure there's plenty of them by now.
Yeah.
But there's whole towns where their water is just red.
Yeah.
From
That's such a childish argument too.
Yeah.
It's like you can't get mad at me. Billy's doing it too.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, like, the whole point of being countries is that the country you live in and work for, you're supposed to think that that's the best country. You're supposed to
Yeah.
hold that to a higher standard than China, who gives all of its citizens cancer so you can keep making money.
I think there was a report like 2 years ago where I think some Republicans who had fought the idea of climate change for so long had to acknowledge that it exists, but their response was like, it's like, so are we gonna, cut down on emissions and stuff? Well, no, because I mean, if China and India aren't gonna do it, then there's no point, right?
But on the bright side, with all this pollution, we're gonna have a lot of superheroes.
One can only hope. So we're coming up on the end of our show, but let's play some games. We'll go over a little bit today. We're
That's
having
fine.
fun. So let's jump into some games. Let's do Two Truths and a Lie first. So I can go first if you guys want me to start off.
Go for it.
So these are all going to have taken place my freshman year of high school. My freshman year of high school, I wore a leather jacket almost every single day. I had hair down below my shoulders, and and I drove a car for the first time my freshman year, when I was not 16.
The last one's the
The
last.
last one.
Can you repeat them?
I wore a leather jacket almost every day.
Okay.
I had hair down below my shoulders, and I illegally drove a car my freshman year.
Which one's the lie? Leather jacket.
Cameron?
Drove a car for the first time.
All right. Yep. You guys were right. I did wear a leather jacket almost every day.
You look like that guy.
Yeah, and I did have hair down below my shoulders, so the two, the aesthetic went hand in hand.
How often did you bring an acoustic guitar to school?
Pretty often.
I knew it.
You called it, yeah.
Anyway, guys, this is Jumper.
Jump.
I wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend.
Actually, I was never talented enough to be able to play that song, but I had a friend of mine who could kill it.
Yeah, you just knew Smoke on a Water like a mofo.
No, I knew lots of Metallica.
Into the Sandman.
in those days.
Yeah.
No, never Enter Sandman.
No, but like Hit the Lights.
No. It would be Harvester of Sorrow,
Ooh.
Master of Puppets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Whiplash.
No, it was acoustic, so I didn't want to do any of that.
You didn't want to
crazy
do
stuff.
like some thrash.
Well,
like
I got
acoustic
into
thrash?
later on in that year. I formed a band, and that's when I started learning all the heavier stuff.
Yeah.
But Two Truths and a Lie. Who's up next?
I'll go next. Had to write these down. First one, I didn't have my first girlfriend until I was 19. Second one, I was on Comedy Central. And third one, I've had a dog named Scooby-Doo.
It's the third one.
Third one.
The third one.
Yeah, I gotta say third one.
Third one, I didn't have a dog named Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
The one that was a lie is I got my first girlfriend at 20.
That's what I was gonna.
19.
That's what I was gonna say, man.
Yeah, I actually did have a dog named Scooby-Doo. Was not a Great Dane. He was half Golden Retriever, half White Lab, I think.
Huh.
I hate you.
How did
know.
this not come up when we had all of our Scooby-Doo
I know.
talk?
That's why I'm saying.
I'm pretty sure I mentioned it. If we
Oh.
go back into the files.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess it would be a thing you continue to bring up. By the
You
way,
guys remember I told you my
yeah.
dog was Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, if you cared anything about me, you'd remember I had a dog named Scooby-Doo. His daughter, Susie Doo.
Well, did you have a pup named Scooby-Doo?
Yeah, actually, I did get one when he was a puppy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have a really annoying dog named Scrappy Doo that you decided to put down after 2 seasons?
Well,
No.
yeah. I thought that was the funny thing is the last appearance of Scrappy-Doo was like 79.
Yeah, it was like 88.
Okay, yeah.
88
yeah.
was the last animated appearance of Scrappy-Doo.
And then he made
Yeah,
that
maybe
fun
it's in that live
cameo
action.
in that live action movie that
exactly.
is garbage.
Oh, really? Okay,
He
I
was
don't
the
remember
villain
that.
He's
in
the
that
villain,
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was controlling the monsters.
That's
He
right. When
was
they were on the
throwing-
island, right?
He was
Yeah.
Mr. Bean the whole time.
He
God,
pe-
yeah,
he
Scrappy
peed on-
was bad boy.
That
he
is
peed on
right.
Daphne, which is really weird.
Yeah, that's
that
true.
Was so
Mm.
hot.
What I wouldn't give to pee on Sarah Michelle Gellar. Am I right?
Such a
guys?
weird trajectory those movies took because you would think the second one's story would have made for a better beginning movie, you know? Whereas it was like all the monsters unleashed, it kind of gives you a groundwork to build on. But then the first one, they're just on an island
Man.
solving a
Well,
mystery.
I don't hate that second movie.
No, the
Yeah?
second movie's
Oh,
actually
it was written by
It's
James
okay.
Gunn.
I don't
The
know.
second
First
movie-
one.
No,
The
the
first
second movie's way better than the first for sure. Like it's much more watchable than the first is. And yeah. Look at my spreadsheet. For those who don't know,
I have an analysis about how much more watchable the second Scooby-Doo
so,
live action.
over the weekend, I made a spreadsheet of all the Scooby-Doo movies, and some of them included fun facts. Yes,
Scientifically speaking.
Yes, Scooby-Doo 2, released in 2004, was written by James Gunn, who would go on to direct Guardians of the Galaxy. Also, the live-action Scooby-Doo movie was originally intended to be a much more adult-oriented movie.
Yeah, his James Gunn wrote the original script for the first one, and it was like an R-rated
Yeah, it was
movie.
like a
and then
satire
they
of
rewrote
Scooby-Doo.
it. Yeah,
Like Shaggy was going to full-on be smoking weed. Like they weren't going to be any euphemisms.
that's the
Yeah.
first gag in that movie is them hanging out in that.
on the
yeah.
left
Well,
hand
plus,
side.
the chick's name is Mary Jane.
God, that movie is awful. like
It is.
I think there's nothing I hate more in children's films than when they try to make adult jokes
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
because it's just like no, if you just wrote a good movie, you wouldn't have to have this stuff
You can
in
do
here.
both. You can have the adult jokes.
Exactly.
Like I'm a big fan of Looney Tunes. Like I have a bunch of the classics on
Yeah.
Blu-ray, and they put tons of adult jokes in there, but the rest of it's so written so well, and it's all delivered so humorously. Like it's delivered really well. I mean, that it actually works.
Yeah.
Well, and the best ones of those are where it's still tied into the kids' joke. Like there's a second meaning to it.
That's what I should have clarified. That's what I mean
Yeah.
because I mean I say that in like Pee-wee's Playhouse is one of my favorite TV shows ever. and
I know
that
what you
show's
mean though
chock
because
full.
they're making just an adult joke that only
Yeah, when
adults
it's
would
only
get.
Yeah.
adult
Right.
jokes,
That-
Right.
that's
yeah.
the problem.
It's so well written that like it goes over a kid's head. Where like what Jack's talking about, like the way the Scooby-Doo live action movie is making adult jokes. It's like even a kid knows.
Yeah, I
Like,
remember watching
oh,
as a
this
kid.
is bad.
Yeah.
This is cool that there's bad stuff. in
Yeah.
there.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's awful. Like I think like Shrek was like the thing that came in and like ruined all that stuff for children's movies where it was just like no, we'll just put all these like gross gags in here.
But,
Yeah.
and,
but
like-
Shrek was good.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
When's the last time you've watched Shrek?
I watched Shrek the musical
You-
about
yeah.
2 weeks
Musical.
ago.
I've watched a ton of different versions of Shrek on YouTube. I've watched Shrek, but only when he's physically touching another person. Shrek, but only when no one's talking, just physical movement.
By the way, my favorite weird like shipping I've seen that I try to understand. I just don't. Shrek and Shadow the Hedgehog is apparently a big thing.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Because it combines those things, which is just like sexy Sonic stuff and sexy Shrek stuff.
Yep.
Because it's
Interesting.
just that. I think people have gotten too ironic. I think that's the thing.
Shrek 2, but only when someone moans, groans, gasps, or sighs.
How long is it?
Oh,
How long
God.
is the clip?
It's 2 minutes and 42 seconds.
I don't want
14
to know.
seconds.
I don't want to know how many people have masturbated to that.
Can we screen that in between Scooby-Doo movies in the screening room?
The
Yeah.
musical
That'll be
or
our
just the regular
trailers.
movie?
Are we
What's
still
that, Tanner?
The musical or the regular movie? Shrek.
Just the part where somebody
Oh, that-
sighs,
yeah.
moans,
Okay, gotcha,
groans.
yeah.
Are we still playing this game?
Yeah.
Yeah, two truths and a lie.
You're up, home dog.
Okay, so I've met Chris Rock before. I had a dog once that bit me in the no-no area and had to give it away within 2 weeks of owning it. And I legitimately care about the well-being of others.
I gotta think Chris Rock is the lie.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Chris Rock is a lie.
that you care about people.
Yeah, I'm going with Chris Rock.
Jack's right. I met Chris Rock when I was very young in New York for the first time I was there. I don't really remember it, but my mom tells me about
I
it.
bet he remembers it.
Are you sure your mom just wasn't confusing him for another black guy?
You know?
It's like you actually met Chris
got a
Tucker or
point.
something.
Hey, man. Yeah, I'm Chris Rock. Can I get $1.75 from you so I can catch the bus?
Well, his first name probably was Chris, and he was asking for Rock.
Oh.
Guys,
Zing.
stop trying to discredit. I think it's really hurtful to do to me live on air. If you don't really believe me, pull me aside after the show. And just don't try
Didn't
to-
you just tell me you hated me earlier?
I mean, is that news, Tyler?
All right, Jack, you got two truths and a lie?
I've got it. If Jack
I
doesn't.
do. I do. Okay. Here we go. I've sang on stage with the band Dinosaur Jr. I've had sex with 2 women at the same time.
You bragger.
Yeah. And
I got such a hard life.
yeah, man, it's
I've
such a
probably-
hard life.
Probably done both of those things.
Yeah. And I've been arrested.
All right, define arrested.
Like I've been handcuffed, booked, arrested.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the women.
The arrested's a lie.
Yeah, I feel like the arrested's the lie.
Yeah, arrested.
That's the women.
What? When did you get
You
arrested?
got us.
I got arrested
Not me.
at
I didn't get
when I
that.
was in Savannah, and I was arrested.
Oh, when you went to
when
school?
I had my charge.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Because I remember that story, and I thought you never got cuffed.
I was
I got cuffed and.
Okay.
I was remembering your most recent story about getting handcuffed.
Yeah, I wasn't like
Yeah.
taken to jail.
Right. That's
Okay,
why I was
gotcha.
like, no, you didn't get arrested.
Tanner?
Yeah. Okay. These are all about my my high school senior prom.
Riveting.
Yeah, exactly. So number 1, went to Hooters for dinner and had a nice chat with a guy who used to steal cars for the mafia. Number 2, my girlfriend broke up with me at prom while they were transitioning songs so everyone could hear it.
Oh.
And number 3, at the after party at my house, my friend tried to poop in my mom's oven. That's in like the kitchen.
Oh
I feel like it's the Hooters thing.
I want to say it's number 2 because I don't think you had a girlfriend, but I'm thinking it might be number 1.
I think
'cause
2 is too specific to be a lie.
But then again, Tanner's just trying to mess with our heads.
Yeah, those are all 3 good.
They're all lies.
I'm gonna go with the poop in the oven. Actually,
I am gonna go with Hooters.
I'm gonna go. I think with the poop in the oven.
And Tyler?
I'm going to go with Hooters.
No, actually, the girlfriend was the lie. Tyler is right. I did not have a girlfriend. I went with a group of a bunch of dudes. We were all single and like had either gotten rejected or just hadn't asked. So we went to Hooters, where my friend Kumar locked my keys in my car, and we had to call AAA. And we had a nice conversation with the AAA guy as he's breaking into my car about how he used to steal cars for the mafia. And then after at the after party, it was one of my friend's first time drinking, and we would drink a lot, so he wasn't really used to that. So when we went to bed,
obviously
like,
he poops in an oven.
So when we went to bed at 5:30 in the morning, I told one of my best friends, Jonah, who might be listening. I said, like, Jonah, like, watch him because I don't trust him. And he's like, sure. 10 minutes after I go to bed, apparently he gets this guy who we'll call John. That's not his name. John gets up. Jonah follows him and says he sees him open the oven, pull out the tray, and pull his pants down and like squat right there. So Jonah grabs John, throws him in the bathroom where John is there for 15 minutes that he doesn't flush. He just walks out. Jonah goes in and sees nothing in the toilet. Like no. So he was just in the bathroom for 15 minutes hanging out.
Could you imagine a worse smell to come home to than freshly
baked cookies,
broiled poop in your oven?
See, that's the problem. You don't want to broil it. You want to brown it on both sides.
Don't knock it till you try it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Now with poop, depending on the consistency, you're actually gonna want to slow cook that.
Yeah. You know, his dream was actually to be a chef. Like that was actually his dream.
Diarrhea in a crock pot's actually.
Yeah.
It's a nice stew.
All right, let's do one round of flip films and then we'll call it a day. This has been a good first episode.
Good Lord.
One day we'll just do a whole episode about my prom night. That was just a fun night, man.
Oh, that's the first script you need to write.
Right, yeah.
I'm so proud of myself for that burn I got on you and it being true.
Oh, it was 100% true. And I had to be, you were saying it was too specific.
You had to make it specific.
I had to make it specific because the oven was too specific. I'm like, that one's too detailed. I got to make sure.
There's no way someone would break up with you in person. They do it over text.
My Canadian girlfriend broke up with me.
They will break up with me in person in public.
Oh man! All right, so let's do flip films.
Tanner, you warm my heart.
Really?
Cindy, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. If someone else has one off the top of their head, go for it.
All right, so I'm in a computer. All right, I'm in
Tron.
a computer. Huh?
Tron.
No, I want to get out. There's stuff out in the world that I
do.
Wreck-It Ralph.
No. Oh wait, does everybody know what the game is?
Scooby-Doo the Cyber Chase.
Yes.
What did I just? I just said it. I said Scooby-Doo and the Phantom Virus. So technically, I got the title wrong, but I meant that.
The Phantom.
The Cyber Chase.
That was the monster's name. That was the monster's name.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Jack, I'll give it. Yeah. No, Jack got the title right.
I didn't hear you.
Okay. Cool.
You gotta.
I didn't either. I'm sorry.
Send me a text where you break up with me, and we'll.
So Jack, you want to go next since you got it?
Everybody, we should explain the game first, but I jumped in a little quick on that.
Yeah, why don't you give a spiel while I try to think of a movie?
Sounds good. So what we're gonna do, flip films. We'll play this maybe a couple times a week. Probably don't want to wear it out though. One of us is going to describe a movie from the antagonist's point of view, and then the other have to guess what it is. So let me try to think of one real quick.
Can I give it a shot?
Yeah, go for it.
And the movie title might escape you. I'm trying to cover up the big scandal that was involved in.
Frost Nixon.
Oh, close, but not that one specifically.
The King's Speech. Nope.
Oh.
No.
All the President's Men.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know why I
Woodward
said
and Bernstein.
Jack's 2 for.
I also don't know why you went King's Speech.
He acted like he was a king.
Yeah. Okay. So here, this is.
Okay.
See if you can guess what this is. I am here to stop the king from properly
King's Speech.
speaking. Yeah, and the enemy's the stutter.
Yeah.
That's all the. Okay, I've got some. So these portals opened up, and now we can finally go and explore a new world. But
Avengers.
every time we go there, man, these giant robots come and kill us.
Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got one. I'm Time, and I
In Time with Justin Timberlake.
No.
Some movie about Alzheimer's.
127 hours.
Nope. And I'm passing very slowly, and these kids are growing up, and because
Boyhood.
Yes.
Nice.
We saw that together, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes,
I haven't watched that yet.
It's a very good movie.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. No,
Okay, you ready? Here we go.
Let's do it.
I want that damn gold jacket.
Oh, Happy
Caddyshack.
Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore.
Yeah. Caddyshack.
Oh, no.
Okay,
Turn into a Muppet.
Look, I got all these workers at my ranch, right, and everything's going
12 years
great.
a slave.
And then this man
Quigley
comes
Down
in
Under.
there, right, and he just completely decimates my plantation.
Django Unchained.
Yeah.
Nice. I am the AIDS epidemic.
Philadelphia.
Milk.
No, but that one works too.
Yeah, 'cause
I think we've actually already done
I did
Philadelphia.
That track 'cause
Yeah.
I said I'm a deadly incurable disease.
Yeah. But more specifically, I am the AIDS epidemic.
80s of March.
And also,
Ren.
I haven't seen that
Forrest
movie.
Gump.
and also,
Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah.
That's another good movie.
I was going to say, not only am I the disease, but I'm also the government system trying to keep the medication away from people.
I'm the computer system of a very clingy man, and yes.
Yeah.
I'm a poorly thought out movie script written in 3 weeks by
Tusk.
the screenwriter of Training Day, and
Suicide
I have
Squad.
to. Yep. The enemy is the script.
I am just rolling around the desert, making heads explode.
Oh God, Rubber.
Yeah.
I like that
Nice.
movie.
It's a
I love
crazy
that
movie.
movie.
Cool
Such a
movie.
wild movie.
Oh, so good. Oh man. Okay.
I am a short little king in the greatest movie.
Shrek.
The greatest movie ever.
All right, let's end with that one, guys. This was a good episode.
I am a short little king.
Hey, Lord Farquaad, all right? So yeah, this has been Prime Nation Radio. This was our first episode, March
Sure
20th.
has.
Thank you for everyone who joined us. Thank you guys for being here. I had a lot of fun. I'm Sydney Roberts. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SydneyRoberts18.
I'm Tyler Wood. You can find me on Twitter at Tyler W. Wood or
IF. Thank you so much and have a blessed evening, everybody. May God be with you.
I'm Jack Nelson. You can find me on Instagram at Nelson Burgers. That's BERGERS. And then you can find me in the shows that I run at cuteboysclub.com and at cuteboysclub69 on Twitter. So
Classic.
check it out.
And my name is Tanner Methvin. You can find me on Twitter at Tanner Methvin.
Perfect. All right, guys. Well, that was Prime Nation Radio Episode 1. Be sure to check us out tomorrow, March 21st. We'll have Drew Harrison sitting in where Jack was today. Hope you've all enjoyed it, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Get out of my swamp!
Got it.